You don't need a cape just to help someone win. Do something simple, do something true. Make a sandwich for a friend, hold the door for someone too. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Check on your neighbor, share what you can do. One small action turns into a wave. Do something today, be the change that you crave. Facts still matter, it starts with you. Facts still matter, it starts with you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thank you for being here. We know you got many choices to make every day, and we're super grateful you choose to spend some time with us, so thank you. Tapping is clapping, liking is loving, sharing is caring. Join our team. Please do that. That's very important. Helps us get to and stay on the FYP. Also, there's a gifting goal today. Please help contribute to that. And there's other things that you can do that I don't even know, like the community gift. Okay. Thank you. We're still in the process of raising funds for the Do Something Tour. Just past $8,400 raised yesterday. Thank you all. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. It's all at Facts Still Matter. Thank you very much. Head on over to the link tree that's in my bio. Lots of great resources there, including access to our Discord. If you have not yet joined our Discord, please consider doing so. It is free. We just ask that you go through the verification steps. It shouldn't take you very long. If for some reason the link does not work, you can either paste it into a browser, and assuming you have it on your device, it will open and load automatically. Or if that doesn't work, please reach out to one of our amazing moderators. They can help you as well. Also in the link tree, you'll find a link to the Facts merch store, which is Facts HQ or factsstillmatter.site. Lots of really cool merch, in particular items that you might wear for protests. There's a lot of really cool stuff, including I'm a big fan of human rights. Women don't owe you shit, whole bunch of things. Go check it out. Please let us know. Give us some feedback on the items that you see there, or if there's something that you feel like we could use or we should maybe consider adding, please let us know that as well. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. Programming note, might have to end a little bit early today. I'm waiting on a client communication, so I might have to end abruptly, but it wouldn't be till around 11 o'clock if that does happen. And then no show tomorrow morning. Well, I'm not going to say no show. Don't really know yet what I'm going to do tomorrow morning, but if I do go live, it will be from the airport in New York, as I'm flying out tomorrow, flying down to NYC to attend the No Kings rally over the weekend. Going to see a whole bunch of my TikTok friends, which will be great. Apparently, there's going to be karaoke at some point. I don't know, but I'm down for whatever. So again, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you, and let's get into the show. So where we sit, we spent a lot of time yesterday talking about the government shutdown that is squarely on the backs of Republicans at this point. Just briefly, let me let you know this. Democrats have introduced numerous bills to end this and to fund TSA. Fund TSA, fund the Coast Guard, fund CISA, fund the teleporting agency, which is FEMA, on March 5th, on March 11th, on March 12th, on March 18th, twice on March 19th, March 21st, and March 23rd. Every single time Republicans blocked it. We know that there's no interest in funding the government unless Democrats agree to negotiate or agree to fund ICE at current levels. Democrats have said, we're not doing that. We want reform. We will do it if you guys agree to these reform terms and the government could be opened. So I don't want you to worry, though. I don't want you to worry because Mark Wayne Mullin's in charge, the new sheriff in town, and I want you to listen to his statement after his swearing-in ceremony, 2 days ago now, in the Oval Office. This is what the man in charge has to say about the reason that TSA employees aren't getting paid.
Today, I got the privilege of meeting so many of the employees at DHS. These employees have been there for 30 days without pay. And if you need anything to know their dedication to show up and still protect the homeland that you and I enjoy and the freedoms that we're experiencing.
What?
They're working for free because of political politics.
I'm sorry, what was that? They're working for free because of what?
Free because of political politics.
I'm sorry, one more time?
They're working for free because of political politics, that's all I need to know. I told him, you're fighting 365.
Cool. It's good to know. So that they're working free because of political politics as opposed to apolitical politics. I know, right, Sam? As opposed to apolitical politics or political geometry or political liberal arts. Mark Wayne, not the brightest bulb in the tree. And then that guy is in charge of protecting the homeland. But don't worry. He's a former MMA fighter. Yeah, I mean, again, just to be clear,
To show up and still protect the homeland that you and I enjoy and the freedoms that we're experiencing, they're working with for free because of political politics.
Cool. I thought so. They're working for free because of political politics. Again, not apolitical politics, not political math, not political, basket weaving, not political theatrical design, but political politics. Cool. So there's that. The story, as reported by the New York Times, President Trump sworn new DHS Secretary Mark Wayne on Tuesday amid a department shutdown that is causing major airport delays across the country. Trump chose the Oklahoma senator for positioning after firing Kristi Noem. Again, not a firing, right? Anyway, earlier this month, amid multiple DHS controversies, Mullen is inheriting a department that has gone without funding for over a month as congressional Republicans and Democrats remain at a stalemate over funding. Mullen broadly addressed the shutdown in his brief remarks after being sworn in. Today, I got the privilege of meeting so many of my employees at DHS. These employees have been there for 30 days without pay. And if you need anything to know their dedication to show up and still protect the homeland that you and I enjoy and the freedoms that we're experiencing, they're working for free because of political politics. That's all I need to know. Thank you, Swishy Raiders. Hearts in the chat for Swishy Raiders, please. We're working for free for political politics. Cool. Thank you, Swishy Raiders. We love you guys. So that's good to know. I feel so much better that Mark Wayne's in charge of our political politics agenda.
And it's the same.
So, sorry, Mr. Kennedy. Yeah, I want to get back to that. But just to be very, 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 very clear, just to be very clear, this problem, this no funding for TSA employees, and as a reminder, ICE are now at airports. So from what it looks like, it seems like they're at some of the larger hubs. You think Atlanta, you think some of the New York airports, you think Chicago, you think LAX, you think Houston, some of the busier airports in the country. There's always going to be delays. It doesn't seem like it's as bad nationally as it is with some localized airports. So expect delays if you are flying tomorrow, as am I. Give yourself plenty of time. It's already a challenge getting out of Burlington International Airport. That's a different conversation. But there was an opportunity for a deal. So you're going to hear from Senator Kennedy. This has been negotiated. There's been bipartisan support for a bill. The president is just not interested. And the reason that the government is shut down, the DHS is shut down, the reason that TSA employees are not getting paid is because of the president of the United States.
Democrats have offered to open up everything but ICE. Ted and I said, okay, let's accept their offer. And then at the same time, we would offer a bill for reconciliation where we don't need any Democratic votes to do whatever we wanted to do with ICE. And that way we're out of the shutdown and DHS is back open. We submitted that, Senator Cthulhu submitted that to President Trump, as is his right. He said no. No deals with the Democrats.
Okay, so bipartisan support, which rarely happens these days. Democrats, Republicans agree to fund everything with the exception of ICE. All the Democrats are asking for is reforms on how they enforce, making sure that there are judicial warrants as opposed to administrative, making sure that the facilities are clean, that there's due process for all involved, that we're not, that they're not murdering American citizens in the streets of our country or allowing loss of life for detainees. I think those are reasonable, and a lot of the Republicans even agree. So here we sit, opportunity to fund the agencies that are intended to protect us. An agreement was made between Democrats and Republicans. John Thune went to the president. President said no.
Democrats. I didn't see any reason going forward with Ted and I's plan if the president's going to veto it. It would have worked. We could have had TSA paid by the end of the week.
There you go.
But the president said no deals.
There you go. President said no deal. Isn't he the deal maker? Remember, the president has gone on the record numerous times saying that if a government is shut down, it's a lack of leadership or failed leadership from the president. So here we sit once again. Here we sit. The economy's in ruins. We're gonna play some. I'll get some stark data for you. That's the predictors for what we're gonna see from the inflation report that comes out in April for March, and it's bigger than any of us have discussed. But we'll get into that. I do see your request. Few things today that we have to cover, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. Hi, Judy. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Steve. I just got in like 2 minutes ago, and I don't know if you covered or not, but my daughter flies a lot for the University of Florida, and she flew out of Gainesville, and there were no ice to be seen, and
Good.
to the Carolinas, I believe, and taken a small airport there back. And her team that flew in said when they landed there was no ice around. So if you can stick to small airports, you're far better. There's no ice around, at least for now.
Yeah. I don't think we all know necessarily what ICE is going to be doing there. We know that by and large they're probably going to be looking to do some immigration enforcement. But I think ultimately, if they can assist and help reduce the traffic, I think that'd be a good thing. We can all be objective.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I love you to death.
Thank you very much, Judy. Have a good day. Be safe out there. We'll find out. I mean, I will do like man on the street. We're working on this new thing called Facts in the Wild. We're working on that because I'm going to be out on the road a lot over the next few months and leading up to our tour this fall that kicks off in August. I'll be attending numerous events between now and then over the summer. Some will be driving distance. I'll be hopping on planes to go to these various events. So we're referring to it as part of the Do Something tour, but Facts in the Wild. So, getting out of the land that doesn't exist. Anyway, we're in this situation now where there's an opportunity to have a deal. Democrats and Republicans came together on something. We will fund the government. Ted Cruz and John Kennedy sponsored a bill. Democrats agreed. Let's do everything, and then we'll try to pass the SAVE Act and other things through reconciliation. We went through that process yesterday. As a reminder, reconciliation is subjected to the Senate parliamentarians' review. It has to be budgetary, either impact positively or negatively, which is going to be extremely difficult to try to pass the SAVE Act. The president is now clamoring for the filibuster again to be taken away. He went off last night or early this morning on Live Social. Hang on.
Chuck Schumer, a desperate, crippled politician who has lost control of the radical left Democrats, will make a deal now because he thinks that if he doesn't, Republicans will terminate the filibuster, something which they should do whether he makes a deal or not. Another post, terminate the filibuster. And another one, when is enough for our Republican senators? There comes a time when you must do what you should have done a long time ago, and something which the lunatic Democrats will do on day one, if they ever get the chance. Terminate the filibuster and get our airports and everything else moving again. Also, add the complete all 5 items Save America Act items. Also, add the complete all 5 items Save America Act items. Go for the gold, President DJT.
Peepaw is losing his shit. Like I have a True Social account and I monitor it, and only because I tend to want to see how the brain rot is really interfering with his day to day, and it's bad. Here's another one.
The Iranian negotiators are very different and strange. They are begging us to make a deal, which they should be doing since they have been militarily obliterated, which with zero chance of a comeback, and yet they publicly state that they are only looking at our proposal. Wrong! They better get serious soon before it's too late, because once that happens, there's no turning back. And it won't be pretty, President DJT.
As a reminder, gas prices sit at $3.98, friends. Hang on 1 second. So I have a theory. Well, it's not necessarily a theory. It's not going to surprise anybody. Because there is incompetence at the top of our politics. The president is incompetent. His entire staff is incompetent. That's not opinion. That's just obviously objective. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. They don't have an off-ramp for this. So the president is going to go out and just tell his base that we've won. It's easy. Remember, Bertolini's law, right? Bertolini's law. It's easier to tell a lie. Let me get the exact quote. I just want to get the exact quote so I have it exactly right for you guys so you can remember it when we're talking about this. Hang on one second. Yeah. This is the kicker. It's called Brandolini's Law. And how they summarize it is the amount of energy needed to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude larger than the energy needed to produce it. So we know that we are certainly not winning. We certainly know that at this point, Iran holds the leverage. And we know that to be true because...
And part of these discussions...
Hang on a second. I'll play Caroline. Caroline's nonsense is over the top. I just want to remind folks of a couple of things. This is what Iran is at. This is what the U.S. wants from Iran. Okay? As part of this deal, the president claiming that we've won. What have we won? Don't know. This is what the U.S. wants. No missile program for 5 years, 0 uranium enrichment, decommissioning of nuclear reactors, arms control treaties with regional countries, no financing for regional proxies, and strict outside observation protocols around the creation and use of centrifuges. That is basically the JCPOA, minus Obama's signature. I want people to understand the reason that we are in this situation is because one of many reasons, is because the president pulled us out of the JCPOA. The concern about nuclear enrichment, a nuclear Iran, et cetera, that's what diplomacy does. Every single administration has been told, for as long as Bibi's been around, every single administration has been told that by Bibi, that the Iranians were 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away, a month away from a nuclear weapon. And they find somebody so fucking gullible who just wants to be a wartime president desperately. They get Trump to do his bidding. And here we sit. So what the United States is asking for is the JCPOA, more or less, minus Obama's signature. So what have we done? We're spending $1 billion a day, $200 billion more that the Department of Defense is asking for. And according to Pete Hegseth, it takes money to kill bad guys. We have Mark Wayne Mullen, who thinks the political politics are the issue. We've got Kristi Noem, who gets fired. We get Pam Bondi, who's a liar. We get Kash Patel, who's a liar. We get Howard Nutlick, who's a liar. We get Scott Bessent, who's a liar. We get the Project 2025, boys in the house, so to speak, from Stephen Miller to Russ Vought, Kevin Hassett, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what do we get? What do we get? what do we get? Azula, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great. I forgot to tell you that Pete Hegseth actually goes to a lot of AAA meetings, as far as I know.
Well, I'm not going to judge his
No.
It's issues.
It's just the truth. But that's his thing.
Well, how would you know that? How would you know that he goes?
He drinks a lot, and it's publicly known.
How would you know that, though?
You can look it up.
I can look it up?
Legit. Yeah, Google it. You can look it up.
Okay. Anyway, doesn't work that way around here. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Good morning.
Good morning, friend. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm focusing on good things.
That's right.
What I wanted to say was that you were just talking about the agreement with the JPCOA and the Iran deal, and the 15-point plan that Iran said F you to Trump about. When I look at it and you look at the great plan that he has for Gaza, it's very similar for me because he wants control. He wants control. Like he's in that 15-point plan, he talks about control of the Straits of Hormuz.
Correct.
I'm like, and here's the thing that I don't understand is that he well, maybe I do understand it, and maybe people should understand this, is that he is a colonizer. He wants control of Gaza for 10 years. And then if the people of Palestine don't agree to the Abraham Accords, then he gets to keep control. And then he wants control of the Straits of Hormuz. Why does he think, like, I just don't get why he thinks that he gets control of everything around the world.
That's what authoritarians do. Narcissist authoritarians who are in mental decline are told something and they'll just run on it as a whim. Don't forget, just for fun. We wanted to bomb this area of the world just for fun.
Good times. Winning.
Great times.
And then the other thing is that I think that I was just wondering what your opinion was. I think this is more strict. I almost pulled a John Wayne Mullen, more stricter. More stricter than the JCPOA, because it was zero uranium. They had to turn it all over. And it seemed like it was, it was basically Iran being our bitch.
Pretty much. And again, yeah, I mean, but if you look at that list, it's literally right from the pick list of the JCPOA. Yeah, sure. They have to say that now because they obliterated the program, the entire program, apparently, with Operation Midnight Hammer, last spring or whatever the fuck
I saw that movie once.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. Exactly. Don't go there. Yeah, we won't go there. It was pixelated on a Friday night. I know what movie it was, Jen. I know. Anyway, if you're Gen X, you know. But you're right. It's JCPOA Redux with a couple of more bells and whistles.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
I just thought that, people should really look it up and then compare it side by side with the great plan that he has for Gaza. I think people would find that very interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, a little bit different because of the development angle that they're going to get in Gaza. Don't forget, they've talked about turning that into a Mediterranean oasis.
Yes.
A little bit different, but along the same lines, expansionism, interventionism, the same script.
Yeah, exactly my point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, friend.
Keep your chin up.
I will.
Your chin up.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye. It does have an eerie. It does have a bit of an eerie sort of resemblance, doesn't it? Of course, who's gonna enrich themselves? It's not us. Blue Dot, how are you this morning?
Oh gosh, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. What's on your mind?
So I don't know if everybody remembers on Inauguration Eve, Trump said manifest destiny to the stars. Well, NASA now has a program that's going to be completed by the time Trump leaves office to build a moon base.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. Yep. This is wild.
Don't worry though. I mean, it's okay. We've got plenty of money to spend on moon shit. We can't eat. Our healthcare costs are crippling us. Gas prices are approaching $4 a gallon. The economy's hemorrhaging. We're losing jobs. But don't worry. Don't worry.
Yeah. And
we're fine.
And with the insolvency, they're going to be cutting Social Security because that's what the Treasury Department is basing it on. They're saying that the reason why we're insolvent is because of Medicare and Social Security.
Of course. They're easily going to say that, even though those are self-funding programs, but whatever.
Yep. That's all.
Yeah. Thank you for being a friend. I appreciate you. You too. Talk to you later. Bye. I mean, well, we might as well get into that because the economic impact of what we're seeing here, this is a supply chain issue. Don't forget, one of the things that I think the world learned, hopefully, smarter people than me, those people that are in logistics coming off of C-19, was the fragility of the global supply chain. We learned the hard way, right? You can't predict and prepare. You can plan. You can say, okay, this is what we think might happen in the event of a global pandemic, right? There was a playbook. Thank you, President Obama, torn up by the Trump administration. Why? Anyway, so the impact was that it took a long time for supply chains to return to normal, if they did. Some of them never did. So there becomes this opportunity for bad actors to insert themselves. Remember, when good people don't show up, bad people will insert themselves. So if people are not paying attention, this is the kind of shit that happens. So the impact of the C-19 global pandemic on global supply chains, we're still feeling it to this day. So here we sit again. you're going after the Strait of Hormuz, a deal where there is no deal, the disruption of the flow of oil, like literally 20%, 25%, whatever the number is that goes through the Strait, not only oil, but also LNG as well, going after facilities that process LNG, the trickle-down effect onto American consumers here, especially when it comes to electricity costs. It's not something we're going to escape. So Jessica Craven, you guys all know Jessica Craven. Love her. She's great. Follow her. I was psyched. I got a follow back, which was pretty cool. I'll let her tell you the story. Then I've got a little bit more to report on that particular topic because Reuters has now got some information from the OECD, which is a forecasting arm of like global economies about what the predictions are going to look like for inflation rates when they're announced in April, unless, of course, the Trump administration tries to lie about it, but it's going to be difficult. So here's Jessica Craven talking about the impact on supply chains.
So I just interviewed a woman named Aya Ibrahim, a former senior policy advisor at the White House and State Department under Biden. We just talked about the various supply shocks that are coming as a result of Trump's war in Iran and the price increases that are going to come with them. Most Americans are still completely in the dark about this. It's not just gas and diesel, but it's going to be food, helium, plastics. Listen to her talk about this for a second.
So another piece of this is like petrochemicals. So the things that go into plastics, which we use to package and to ship and distribute a lot of the stuff. That is another input. So it's like everything that goes into food outside of like marketing is now more expensive as a result of this war. And there are like fuel in and of itself, like energy is the largest pass-through cost. So that alone is enough to bring up prices. But then you layer on the fertilizer shortages, you layer on the plastic shortages potentially. The other thing that I would be remiss pointing out is sometimes you also have price increases in the fog of like other shocks. So,
You mean price gouging by greedy corporations?
That happens.
Basically, everything that touches food, it's not just the gas, it's the diesel, it's the fertilizer, it's the plastic we package the food in. All of that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. All of it is going to be affected by this war, and none of it is going to get any cheaper next week, even if the war were to end immediately. In fact, I am really sorry to say it is about to get a lot more expensive. She also talked in the end there about price gouging, which a lot of corporations will do just because they can.
Correct.
And if you don't have an administration who will push back on that, and we don't, it's going to be really bad. The takeaway is that Trump has taken an already very fragile economy, and he's setting it on fire with this war. He's setting it on fire. He's taking a populace that is already strapped, that is already suffering, that can't afford their rent, their health care, their groceries already. And he's saying, you think it's bad now? Let me show you how much worse I can make it while I also go off and fly in my private jet and build my ballroom and make more money off of illegal stock trades. Yeah. Watch the whole interview on my YouTube channel. Call your representatives and tell them to pass a war powers resolution and get ready to make a huge stink at No Kings on Saturday. This needs to be the biggest protest in American history, or we're about to have the biggest recession in American history. I don't mean to scare you. That's just the facts.
It's true. We are heading towards that recession, job losses, inflation spiking. To what end? We know the people who are going to enrich themselves because it's always about follow the money, right, friends? It's always about that. I don't mean to fearmonger, but it is real. So people need to buckle up. It's going to get worse because of the fragility of supply chains. For one, we learned that lesson the first time. That was something that we didn't have the impact because it was based on a health emergency. But here we are, and Kamala was right, Gravedigger. Don't forget, she wanted to pass legislation that went after price gougers. This is something that doesn't get talked about enough. We've got inflation naturally based on all the factors that contribute to it. Do you think your prices are going to come back down? Of course not. Get used to paying for anything with a petroleum based, right? It's funny. I wrote a short story years ago about dinosaurs and fossil fuel. I should find that again and read it to you guys. It's actually pretty funny. But here we sit. Anything with plastic because of the petroleum needed to produce items left to move away from single-use plastics anyway. But long story short, the entire food industry, which uses plastics for preserving foods, it's going to get really bad. So, and then Reuters has done some reporting on that. So I'll just read the title of the headline is OECD. This came out this morning at 6 a.m. Iran war erases global growth upgrade, fans inflation. The OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they are global. They come from Paris. The escalating conflict in the Middle East has knocked the global economy off a stronger growth path, the OECD warned on Thursday, as a near halt in energy shipments through the Strait of Hormuz threatens to push inflation sharply higher. The Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development said the global economy had been on a course for stronger than expected growth before the war in Iran erupted because of the United States and Israel. But that prospect has now all but disappeared. Global GDP growth is now projected to ease from 3.3% last year to 2.9% in 2026 before edging up to 3.0% in 2027 as an energy price surge and unpredictable nature of the conflict offset tailwinds from strong technology-related investment, lower effective tariff rates and momentum carried over from 2025. The projections in its interim economic outlook are conditional on a technical assumption that energy market disruption moderates over time, with oil, gas, and fertilizer prices declining eventually, but not until early to mid-2027. The 2026 projection is unchanged from the OED's December forecast, but preliminary indications since then have suggested that global GDP growth could have been upwardly revised by another 0.3 percentage points. Instead, it's going the other way. With energy prices now soaring, G20 inflation is projected to be 1.2% points higher than previously expected in 2026 at 4% before easing to 2.7% eventually in 2027. The war compounds an already complex picture on trade. U.S. bilateral tariff rates have declined following U.S. Supreme Court ruling against tariffs imposed under IEEPA, with particularly large reductions for several emerging market economies, including Brazil, China, India. Nonetheless, the overall U.S. effective tariff rate remains well below that prevailing prior rate to 2025. The expectation is the U.S. headline inflation is now forecasted to hit as high as 4.5% in 2026. That's up 1.4 percentage points from the previous projection. So buckle up. And again, without price controls, without price gouging, you are going to get predatory corporations who are going to justify raising their prices, and then that's going to impact mom and pop. That's going to impact small family farms. That's going to impact small business owners. For what? For what? You're going to see 4.2% inflation? This is self-inflicted, okay? This is self-inflicted. We saw inflation rates inflation rates dropped to like 1.5% during C19, and then they spiked. That you would expect that. There was not enough demand there to support supply. Right? Here we go. This is self-inflicted. For what end? Because the rich are going to enrich themselves even more. All right. I'm glad to know that I'm super happy to know that Mark Wayne Mullen is in charge, though, for the politics of politicking. Okay. Let's get into a little bit more about the Iran stuff. Before I do that, though, I want to do this because we're not going to have a show tomorrow, and I've not done this yet. So I am going to, in honor of women of history, this is my mother. This is Carmela. Okay. My mother was born in 1938. She was the first member of her family on her side to be born in America. Her parents came from Italy, directly to Ellis Island, and she was the first person in her family to attend college. She was the first person in her family to attend graduate school, and obviously then the first person in her family to receive a doctorate in a PhD in education. I wanted to share this story with you guys, because I want this to be an homage to moms everywhere. Stepmoms, foster moms, biological moms, people who do the work. And I miss her. I miss her a lot. And my daughter, her middle name is named a little bit after her grandmother. She was an innovator. She passed away in 1990. She was an innovator. She was a hardcore radical feminist. She was tough as hell. She's probably the smartest person I've ever known in my life. So if your mom is still with you, contact your mom. Give her a call. Tell her how much you love her. Tell her how much you respect her. Tell her how much you learned from her. So just do that. So that's my mother, Carmela. Love you, Mama. All right. In my house, by the way, when I was growing up, a lot of houses, it was like, don't tell dad. In my house, it was don't tell mom. Because all she would have to do would be to look at me and the blood would like drain from my body. I was just like, oh shit, I'm screwed. She would also sit in the bleachers and keep score during baseball games. She was on the sidelines during football games. She was at the bottom of the ski slope after a race with hot cocoa. She was there. So that's my mother. There you go. Thank you for letting me do that, you guys. I appreciate you. All right. Back at it. Yes, win moms everywhere. Okay. So let's talk about Bitch Boy a little bit. It's been a while since, in case you don't know, Bitch Boy is Mike Johnson. In case you don't know, I have Mike's in the, Mike has a permanent seat in the thruple. He gets sent to the, to the corner, quite often. So, let's talk about him a little bit. Now, you're going to be hearing some of the most disgusting and the most despicable glazing I've ever heard from Mike Johnson, and that says a lot. We're going to start with this bit of sound. This came from an event, some America First event. This is a GOP congressional meeting. They gathered over the last couple of nights, and I just want you to hear this. You might want to grab your barf bucket.
And has done so much for the American people, and we want to honor him in some small way, some token of our appreciation for his leadership. And so tonight we have created a new award. We're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to honor him with a new award that we'll present annually from this point forward. But he is the suitable and fitting recipient of the first ever America First Award. We can think of no better title for what that is. That's this beautiful golden statue here, appropriate for the new golden era in America. And we want to let you know before we bring the president out, and the president has done so much for the American people, and we want to honor him in some small way, some token of our appreciation for his leadership. And so tonight we have created a new award. We're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to honor him with a new award that we'll present annually from this point forward. But he is the suitable and fitting recipient of the first ever America First Award. We can think of no better title for what that is. That's this beautiful golden statue here, appropriate for the new golden era in America. And we want to let you know before we bring the president out, and
I don't even know. I am rarely at a loss for words, friends, in case you haven't figured that out. I don't even know what to say there. And then the worst part about it is that there are members of the GOP in Congress that are there applauding. What? The golden age of America? Are you fucking kidding me? In what fucking world? So whenever I hear these sound bites of Mike Johnson, I never necessarily connected Mike Johnson to the Jeffrey Files. But there is something, prove that it's not the golden age of America? Did you just say prove that it's not? You don't prove a negative, germ addict. You don't prove something, you don't prove that something's not. Prove to me that it is the golden age. Anyway, so for Mike to go down that road, there's got to be some dirt. So there's got to be some leverage somewhere, somehow, some way. Who the fuck knows? But that, and again, friends, I don't want you to worry though. We've got the ballroom. We've got the new trophy that he's going to get. We've got the coins, duly minted coins. Don't forget you can get these in 24 karat gold. Don't forget your taxpayer dollars going to do this. And here's the thing. MAGA will be complaining about gas prices. They'll try to blame it on Joe Biden. They'll talk about how they've lost their job. They'll talk about how they're so sick and tired of paying more for shit, and they'll go out and buy one. I wonder what the betting odds are on Kelshi that they'll go out and actually invest in one of these. Anyway, so there's that. And it's the 97th day of the federal government breaking the law by not releasing everything connected to the Jeffrey files, the Trump files that happens to have Epstein's name in it. 97 days that they are violating the law as the roundup. The wagons are circling to protect the predators. Yeah. On that note, just briefly, I'm going to play a little bit of sound for you. This was a podcast, and there was a gentleman on the line. This is the Jimmy S. Now. I recognize the gentleman. I don't exactly know who he is, but I just want you to listen to this. And this is what we're talking about. And this is part of the defense now that you are seeing from the conservative world in regards to P3-ophilia. People attempting to defend it, and you'll never guess what it's rooted in. Here you go.
Or Donald Trump? Did you finally realize he's a pedophile?
Whether Donald Trump is a pedophile or not, I'm not going to hold that. I would not hold that against him. For one, what? Because listen to what I'm saying. What? Because for one, my grandmother was married when she was 12 years old. She had started having kids. That's not good.
How old was her husband?
It doesn't matter. It does not matter if it was her husband or not.
Excuse me. How old was her husband?
25.
Okay.
25.
And is that your grandfather?
Jimmy Snow, exactly.
Yes.
Your grandfather was a pedophile, and I wish he had gone to prison for it.
Yep.
Well, no, that was the thing that they did back in the day, though.
Even if that was true, it's not. But you're saying it's fine. Your grandfather was a pedophile because they didn't know back then it was bad to be a pedophile. That is not the case we are here facing with Donald Trump today. Donald Trump has never been a pedophile during any period of time where we weren't clear it's not okay to be a pedophile.
I've heard some crazy shit in my day. People are like, well, they didn't know it was racist back then. I've never heard in my life, well, he's of a different generation where it was cool to fuck kids.
I have, because I grew up Mormon, and that was the apologetic for Joseph Smith.
That was the norm. That was literally the norm.
It was absolutely not the norm.
Wait. So if that is not the norm, why are there still states in the United States where the age of consent is 16 years old?
In the states, Taylor, in the states where age of consent has traditionally been lower, permission for incestuous relationships, like with your cousins, are permitted, and exceptions for child marriage are permitted. Are those states disproportionately red states or blue states?
I think that's down south, so I think they're mostly red states.
Oh, it's not just down south, but you are quite correct. The reason why some of those laws exist in so many places, I already know this is the case because I've already had to fight with the Mormons who think Joseph Smith banging his teenagers, that was normal for him to do in his 30s. The reason was kids got married, and that's why the marriage age was younger. But the states that have maintained the ability to get married younger have lower ages of consent and allow, literally this week, one of them are disproportionately conservative states because conservatives are more accepting of pedophilia and child trafficking.
What's that number, Ash? 40,000 children married to adults each year in the U.S. 40,000. I played that clip because I really believe that this is going to be part of their defense. To say, what's wrong with it? You know, who's to say 12-year-olds can't be, you know, in a consensual relationship? Who's to say? You know, it was like that years ago. No big deal. It was fine. It's totally fine. My grandfather was 25. My grandmother was 12. That was totally fine back then. No, it's never been fine. It's never been fine.
Good morning, Steve. Always the sexiest brain. No, we love you. So real quick, historically, consent laws and marriage laws in medieval England, where we come from historically as a white population, they set the marriage laws and the consent laws when noble women got married based on the age they thought that a child or an heir could survive a birth, not a mother, not a 12-year-old girl, but based on whether a child or an heir could survive a birth. At that point in time, every time a woman gave birth, she had a 1 in 9 chance of dying. So if she had 9 kids, by the laws of life at that time, she should have been deceased. So let's remember that consent laws aren't based on anything that has to do with little girls growing up, little girls doing anything. They were based on whether a child could survive to be an heir. That is nothing about little girls and everything about a bunch of white men setting age of consent laws around children who could give birth to other children. So historically, no one cares about little girls. No one cares about whether they're women. What they care about was whether a child could survive, which is exactly what pro-birthers are doing in this day and age. They do not care about women. They do not care about little girls. They only care about children being born. And they do not care about what happens to those children after they're born. So let's just take a historical perspective on why the age of consent laws are 12. That's why, people, and it's not women ever setting those laws. Historically, it's been men, and specifically white men, setting those laws. So let's put out the L in the chat for white men who like to molest little girls and get them pregnant. Okay, y'all are sick. Y'all conservative men defending it, y'all are sick. Sick puppies, molester, child rapist. Shame on you, you weirdos.
Coming in hot. How can you defend it? I mean, seriously. How can you defend it? How can you sit here and say, oh, yeah, it's no big deal, 12? I mean, she looked old enough. She looked old enough. She probably shouldn't have dressed like that, right? That's part of the argument, too. Yeah, I mean, why was she there? She shouldn't have been there. Like that whole protector mindset. Man, fellas, what are you protecting? You claim to be protectors. What are you protecting women from other than other men? You heard it. It was fine. It was fine back in the day. No, it's never been fine. It was broadcast in the fucking Bible all the time. It's never been fine. Never. Never been fine. Nope. Never been fine. Good morning, Walker. How are you today?
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me, Steve?
I can. Yes, sir. What's on your mind?
Okay. Hey, man, I don't know if you seen this yesterday, but did you see Bernie Sanders and AOC address about the AI stuff?
They've been doing that for a while. Is there something new that I missed? It's possible,
yes.
But okay.
Well, they're talking about the urgency that everybody just being lackadaisical about what's going on with this product that they putting out, and especially the ones that have like military capabilities. And they're saying in the next 2 years, brother, it could be the end of us. You know what I'm saying? We thinking about what's going on over there, but if they don't stop this, I mean, they're not even attempting, and Congress has no clue of what's going on. And it's very sad. I mean, I'm very depressed every time I try to limit myself on this thing, on this social media thing and getting info, but it's really depressing, man, because of the fact that, they just don't care. They think that money is, like they said, money is the root of all evil. And, it's all about drifting and taking money from us and all that. But why they doing that? They creating our own demise. And that's what's sad about it, bro. And they talking about within the next 2 years that this whatever this product is out there, it has the capabilities of surpassing human capacity, and then will create its own thing.
Skynet. Thank you, Walker. I appreciate that, brother. We'll see if we can track down some of that sound and maybe play it today. Thanks for being here, friend. I appreciate you very much. Have a good day.
All right.
Be safe out there.
You too.
Thanks a lot. All right. Yeah, obviously, I mean, don't forget a lot of the growth in the stock market has come from AI and other sort of non-tangible types of things. We know what those investors are. We know the group behind Palantir. We know those people that are connected to all these various entities are heavily invested in the Trump administration, therefore taking advantage of it. We can talk about it till we're blue in the face. The entire thing's just a gigantic fucking grift. And everybody seems like they're just all in to hop on the gravy train. So there's that. But, we're here fighting for human rights, guys, and we're radical. Hi, Kirsten. How are you today? Kirsten, are you there? Kirsten? I guess not. Want to thank Amy Lee. Thank you you're very kind, friend. You did not need to do that to help with our donation for the tour. You did not need to do that. That's very, very kind of you. Appreciate you. Speak of the devil. Everybody keep tapping, please. You did not need to do that, but you're very kind.
I wanted to. I was able to, and I wanted to. You guys have been my family. So I just wanted to say, Steve, my grandmother got married at 12 years old. My grandmother had 13 kids. When she was 12 years old, she didn't even know, she couldn't connect what her monthly cycle, when that happened 9 months later, she had children. She was so young, she didn't know. She couldn't put it together. So the argument that it's okay, it doesn't fly with me. It wasn't okay for her. It's not okay for that's a child.
Yeah. Agreed. Yep.
So just the point. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. This is part of the justification that they're going to try to use now. So that's the issue. But again, I wanted to thank you, friend, for your kindness. And for those of you who don't know, you are, Amy Lee and her family, part of our community. Like we always say, we're gum on your shoe. So I know you're used to us, but our little family here is better because of you. So thank you for being here today. I really appreciate
Thanks. Love you guys. I'll love you.
See you later. I love you too. All right, bye. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all very much. The issue that we all should have is how they're trying to justify. Don't forget, Megyn Kelly came out and said, well, he doesn't really like the really young teens, just those that are like 16 and 17. It's the same argument. It's the same argument that we see every single day. When we see women create who are content creators and they're hosts of their lives, and you get these just predatory men that will just come in and they still continue to see women as property and children as property, like they're expendable, and you're trying to justify it. It's weird. It's a weird thing. RJ, not that RJ. I sent you a note. I sent you an invite, and I'd like you to come up because you said, what makes Dems better? I'd like to explain it to you. If you want to learn, please accept my invitation, come into the box, and we'll have a conversation. Because I can tell you why. And I can also be critical because I'm an objective thinker. Right? I can be critical of the body politic because we all should. But I can tell you exactly why if you're interested. You may not accept my invite, but anyway. Okay. A couple more requests here. Good morning, Billy. How are you today? Billy? Billy, are you there? I guess not. Okay. So we addressed that disgusting bullshit. I want to go back to Bitch Boy a little bit, though. So Bitch Boy has also been on the record being questioned about how we have Republicans and Democrats have negotiated a deal to open up DHS with the exception of continuing funding for ICE, the enforcement side, FEMA or the teleporting agency, the Coast Guard, CISA, TSA, etc. So he's asked. He's being asked about it. And again, listen to his answer.
Speaker, it seems as though Republicans and Democrats are talking past one another right now. Mm-hmm. Is the only person who could solve this the President of the United States, and why isn't he involved?
Well, I think he is involved. I mean, I know he had a group of...
down the plan yesterday.
He did indeed.
Well, that's what's been reported. Okay, he brought some...
He said that in the Oval Office that he was not pleased.
Mike, it's not what's been reported, Bitch Boy. It's what he said. Okay? It's what he said. It's not what's been reported. It's what he said.
Well, I actually have his exact quote somewhere. I think he said that... to paraphrase him, I think he said he's a little skeptical or cynical that a deal's going to come together.
That's not what he said. Stop trying to defend it. And then one
has railed against
one more. Here is the question about the mail-in voting. So this may be, aside from the gold-plated trophy that he's now going to give to the president, this may be the biggest example of the glazing yet.
Has railed against mail-in voting as rigged. He said it's a form of cheating as recently as Monday. But he's also called on Congress to do away with certain types of mail-in voting in certain circumstances. But in yesterday's special election in Florida, he voted by mail. How do you square those two statements?
Simple question, okay? The president has railed against mail-in voting for decades, and he votes by mail. So you would like to think that Mike Johnson would say, yeah, the president voted by mail. That's his prerogative. That's his prerogative. He can vote by mail. It doesn't change the fact that there's X, Y, and Z. Listen to his answer.
Look, I think some states have handled mail-in balloting well. I think Florida is a good example of that. They don't allow fraud.
Mike, nobody allows fraud. Nobody allows fraud, Mike. When I go on the Do Something tour, I'm going to spend a few days in D.C., and I am going to get in Mike Johnson's face. There is no doubt about it. I am going to get in his face. I don't know if I need to camp outside the speaker's office. Maybe I should get a T-shirt that said, "Mike, you left this under my bed last night," or something to that effect to get his attention. But I'll wear a suit. I'll make it official. Yes, we do need the bail fund. Our mod Cookie, she's already been on Bulldozer Watch to break me out of prison, but whatever. But again, how can you let that answer just kind of go off into the wind? Here it is again. I'll play the full sound. I'll stop talking during it.
Against mail-in voting as rigged. He said it's a form of cheating as recently as Monday. But he's also called on Congress to do away with certain types of mail-in voting in certain circumstances. But in yesterday's special election in Florida, he voted by mail. How do you square those two statements?
Look, I think some states have handled mail-in balloting well. I think Florida is a good example of that. They don't allow fraud, and they have great systems. I was talking yesterday to Laurel Lee, one of our colleagues here in the House, and she used to help run elections in the state of Florida, and she talked about how many great processes they have in place to ensure that you don't have a lot of fraud. But that is not true in other parts of the country, and that is the concern, especially in a state like California or states where they just send mail-in ballots to everyone for no reason whatsoever. It is a matter of common sense. It is an obvious thing that if you're mailing ballots out, inherently it opens the door, at least the possibility of fraud. It's much easier to patrol that election integrity if you're making people come in person, show a photo ID, and prove who they are. Obviously, that's an obvious thing. It should not be a controversial notion. That's what the president's talking about. That's what we have talked about at long length. Some states do it a lot better than others, but it doesn't mean it's not a problem elsewhere in the country, and that's why we continue to advance every election integrity measure that we can, because, if you don't have free and fair elections in a constitutional republic, you cannot maintain it. And there's hardly a more important issue than that. That's where the president's hung up on it, and us as well.
Quote, I think some states have handled mail-in balloting well. I think Florida is a good example of that. They don't allow fraud. MAGA. Okay, so this is just a moment. This is a moment for your boy Facts and white conservative MAGA men. I know you guys are in here because you love me. You'll never admit it. Kiss, kiss. Mike Johnson thinks you're stupid. I just want to let you know that. He doesn't think you're very smart. He doesn't think you're smart at all, because he's going to tell you that Florida doesn't allow fraud. And then you guys will go into right-wing spaces and say, Florida don't allow fraud. They allow it up there in California. They allow fraud in Vermont. They allow fraud in Maryland. All them blue states, they allow fraud. Well, fraud's a crime. They wouldn't allow fraud. Well, they do it. What about Biden? So I have a little sound for you on that topic, because intelligence is tracked. And I don't mean to, well, I do, to say they're derogatory statements towards a group of people who are just not the brightest. I've said this before. When did being smart become problematic? Was it a bad thing, right? It doesn't always necessarily mean that you have to go through college or grad school or whatever, but critical thinking is something that education teaches you how to be a critical thinker. So I played sound from this gentleman before, well, here you go.
Are rarely conservative. There's a scientific...
It says smart men are rarely conservative, is how this starts.
Reason for that. Researchers at Saarland University and Philipps University in Germany launched a study in 1987. They identified over 7,000 gifted third-grade students, then followed them into adulthood for 35 years. They measured their intelligence and tracked their political views. And what they found is crazy. Men with high IQ consistently reject conservative politics. Men with average to low IQ embrace conservative politics. They called it the cognitive complexity openness hypothesis. Here's how it works. Smarter people are more open to new experiences. They are better equipped to handle complex and new ideas. They can handle two contradictory thoughts at the same time and evaluate them separately. Conservative ideology demands the opposite. They need someone to tell them what to think, because thinking is hard for them. Complex ideas overwhelm them. Nuance confuses them. So they pick the party that never asks them to think. Just believe, obey, and submit to authority. For high IQ men, that kind of rigid thinking feels intellectually suffocating, so they reject it. Research published in 2019 found that men with low emotional intelligence are significantly more likely to hold authoritarian political views. Ooh. This pattern is consistent across decades of research.
Well,
the smarter a man is, the less likely he needs rigid rules to make sense of the world. This is why Trump's base is overwhelmingly men without college degrees. This is why MAGA rejects science, experts, and complexity. This is why facts don't work on them. You aren't debating someone who sees the world differently. You're debating someone whose brain cannot handle the complexity required to see the world clearly. Conservative political ideology for these men is not about values. It's about comfort. It is the ceiling of their ability to think cognitively. The data is clear. Smarter men reject everything the Republican Party stands for. That's why the right loves the poorly educated. If it weren't for them, they wouldn't have a party.
I don't really have any notes on that. Robbie, you just said that's why liberals lose elections? I think you're a troll, Robbie, because that would be a silly goose kind of statement, considering Democrats continue to win elections all over the place, but that's just me. So it tracks Mike Johnson not necessarily thinking that his voters are going to be able to navigate through that, the nuance, and then it's backed up by data. What do you know? Sam, how are you today? Samberger. Hello? Samberger, are you there?
Oh, I am here. The only thing that I wanted to add is I'm a middle school teacher, so I'm up early getting ready to go handle 70 12 to 13-year-olds. And I think the thing that is the final, it is that. They're intense. But the thing that is the final kind of nail in the coffin that I want to add is like...
Good luck today. Keep me posted, okay?
Oh, the thing that I want to add...
Sorry.
No, you're totally good. The thing that I just wanted to add that I think kind of brings everything full circle is like, if everybody in the chat and you want to think about back when you were in middle school and think about that feeling of wanting to be an adult and wanting to move up faster than what is actually like what you're actually able. And the reason why we had those feelings and they have those feelings is because a reminder again that what we already know, which is children are the most oppressed class in our country, right? They have no control over their education. They have no control over where their bodies get to be. They have no control over anything. And so because we've created such a horrible education system for them, they're coming from both ends, right? They're coming from the kids. They're bringing the boys down the alt-right pipeline, convincing them that they are old enough to fight even when they're too young. And they're doing the same thing to the girls. They're giving them the trad wife thing. And I see my students, even in a blue state, who want to grow up to embody those roles. It's already happening. So the thing that I just want to connect the dot to is like, if you talk to some of these kids, right, like which I'm sure the right is going to, they're going to find some of them that are going to be quote unquote mature for their age. They're going to find some of them that whatever. That doesn't mean that these kids know what they're talking about. Their brains are physically unable to consent. I will say that one more time. Their brains are physically unable to consent. Right? And we know that as educators, but I think that sometimes people look at the way that they look and they say, wow, look at how they're dressing. They look like they're trying to dress like adults. And it's like, yeah, because they would like to be able to have some power over their lives and the things that happen. And I think that that's a reflection of our education system. That's not a reflection of the kids. And that's a reflection of how hopeless they feel right now in this system, that they don't feel like they can change anything and they don't feel like they can try or they should even bother to try. So that's the thing that I want to connect, is that a lot of people feel like these kids like quote unquote talk a big game, or these kids act like adults, so I'm going to treat them like an adult. No. At the end of the day, you're screaming at a 12-year-old and you are the adult in the situation. It is your job to regulate. It is our job to fix the system. It's not their job to fix the system. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say, is that I get frustrated every day when I hear these conversations and then I go and talk to the kids and they're still playing Roblox, right? They're children.
Thank you for what you do. We're big fans of teachers around here. Please, hearts in the chat for teachers everywhere. Again, thank you for speaking up, and thank you for recognizing the bigger issue in our country about, I lean in on this. Education could solve so many problems, and by design, the conservative Christian right does not want our society to be educated. So who are the actual indoctrinators? We know who they are. Thank you again for being here, friend. I appreciate you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too. I mean, listen, progressive politics, the matriarchy, trickle up economics prioritizes things like education, right? Putting free school breakfasts and free school lunches in schools because we know, teachers can tell you this, if your kid's got a full belly or at least some food, they're going to be able to learn better. And then what happens, right? She's talking about middle schoolers, right? 6th, 7th, it was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is middle school here. That's probably roughly the same for most people, right? Especially those boys, they are being targeted by the red pill, the Roblox Minecraft community, right? That becomes the gamer community, the subcultures, right? And then they're exposed to that red pill. We've said this before. It's appealing to see fancy cars, right? And in townhouse condos in Florida and beautiful women on your arm. And then you're told that the only way you can have that success is if you trust in me, right? Trust in me. I'll get you there. These are the things you need to do. You need to make sure you got a 6-pack ab. You got to make sure that you've got the killer tan, the bright white teeth, right? So they're being told that these are the things in the impressionable minds. As she said, the children are the victims in this, right? Especially the kids. And I always talk about how I'm really worried about boys and young men, and we need to be. Yes, two things can be true. It is all men. And we have to help our young men as well, in particular boy dads. and girl and boy moms as well. There's a lot of work that we have to do, friend, but because what's happening is they're being targeted because they're susceptible, leaning in on some of the societal stigmas that are now part of what they would describe as feminism. Boys, listen, you can't let the women take those jobs. You're better than that. The women in your life need to listen to you. They need to do they need to do what you say. You tell a young, impressionable young man like that, and there's no counter programming, so to speak. Maybe their home life is the same. Our previous guest talked about trad wives. And if that's your choice, if it's consensual, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to do that. What I'm saying is that we are raising, beginning to flooring. Exactly. We're talking about raising the next generation of men. Do we want a society where the patriarchy continues to flourish? I always think about the situation where, especially in the trad wife homes, right, in the traditional one vote households, right? How do those conversations go? You're sitting down with your teenage son, your teenage daughter. Maybe they're 20 months apart in age, right? Basically, what you're saying is that, son, you have more value in the world than your sister does. Son, you're the leader. Daughter, you're the follower. What kind of message does that send? I mean, what kind of message does that send? Is that what people who believe in that theory want for generations and generations and generations? Is that really what you want? Are you prepared to have those conversations? Have you ever thought about it that way? Because you are literally telling your daughter she does not have as much worth as your son. Am I wrong about that? You think about those conversations. Think about the world that we live in now. Think about the protection afforded to the men who are abusing children, girls and boys. They are told we can do whatever we want. And sadly, there's no pushback. So you get people like the president in charge, who's built his entire life on abuse. Not only SA and manipulation and fraud and criminality, but just moral bankruptcy. So, and then we hear podcasters interviewing callers who say, wow, what's the big deal? Back then, you could get married at 12. Then where's the line? 12, 11, 10? You know? It's birthing age. My daughter was 9. I remember getting the phone call from school. So it starts younger and younger and younger and younger and younger. And where's the line? we have to watch the next generation. And I talk about what's the counter programming. Turning Point USA and PragerU and all that kind of sort of just the patriarchy and the red pilling. Where is the counter programming? That's something that we really need to pay attention to. I have never approached my relationship with my children as their friend. I am not their friend. I'm not their friend. I'm their dad. Now, as my children have gotten older, yeah, the relationship, the dynamic has changed, but I'm not their friend. And parent however you want. I'm not here to judge that. I'm here to encourage you to think about it differently. Because a friend might give grace to bad behavior. A parent shouldn't. So if you're not paying attention to what your children are doing, if you're not part of recognizing where they're spending their time, especially online, that's why that ruling yesterday, in case you don't know, against Meta and YouTube, is absolutely historic and massive. The fact that Meta, YouTube, and the like were punished for not creating a safe environment. The argument was, we're not the content creators, we're just the bulletin board. That is huge. Absolutely huge, the decision. And I'm happy about that. I am happy about that. And then we spent some time yesterday. Thank you to Paige. I saw you in here. And thank you to Sinjay. We talked a little bit about European approaches to free speech and hate speech. And I think they're related in a way. So are we not So doesn't society have an obligation to protect the most vulnerable? I see it that way. And is there any group of people more vulnerable than our children? They don't have a voice. They don't have the same rights that many of us do. And this goes back to my belief that age-appropriate sex ed, starting with proper names for body parts. And to be honest, I see people now who I have these conversations with, 40, 45-year-old women who don't always refer to proper, you can call it a penis. You can call it a vagina. You don't have to nickname it. That's what it is. We need to start removing some of those stereotypes. So introduce age-appropriate sex ed early. Proper names for body parts. And that becomes what good touch and bad touch is. And then consent. And then you triple and double and triple and quadruple down on consent. Right? Those things don't happen. So how is a kid supposed to know what is good touch or what is bad touch? The person that loves me is expressing their love by touching me in an area that's private. You don't know if it's private. Who's told you it is? So again, we create this generational abuse because we in the West, in particular in the US, are afraid to have these conversations with our kids. If you don't, somebody will. If you are not providing a safe space, if you are not helping control their environment and their audience and who it is that they're exposed to, then you have to take some responsibility for that as well, because it's not your kid's fault. It's not. It's not your daughter's fault that she was out with her friends and she got raped by a teenage boy. It's not her fault. It will never be her fault. Never was her fault. This shit is scary. It's really, really, really scary. And I don't know, these things are important to talk about, but big picture, we've got some just moral depravity in our society that we have to fix. Tahoe, how are you today? I guess good. I hope. Everybody keep tapping, please. Looks like the TikTok requests are just strange today. I don't know what's going on here, but sometimes they're here, sometimes they're not. Oh, good morning, friend. How are you today?
Oh, same shit, different toilet. You know how I feel about it.
Indeed.
So most people here know me as Mother Hen. You do. You stopped in my life a couple times, and I love you for it. But what a lot of people don't know is that I was quite literally a child bride. I was married at 16. At 16 years old, you don't know jack. Okay? I want everybody, I'm 50 now. I want everybody to look back on a time when they were 16 years old and ask yourself, what did you know? What did you really know? And as somebody who was raised a Roman Catholic, okay,
me too.
You know the drill when it comes to women in the Roman Catholic Church. We are raised to become good little wives and, the nurturers of the family and yada, yada, yada. That wasn't me. Okay. But my family convinced me to pray the gay away and get married to the first available guy, basically. And it's something that will change that child forever. I am one of the lucky ones. I broke the cycle. I got myself educated. I went into the military. I learned how to be an individual. And that's something you're stealing from these young women when you're saying it's okay to treat children like grown-ass women. You are stealing their entire personality. You are stealing their individuality. There are so many people on this app I've talked to that say, oh, I want the best for my kid. And then you ask them something as simple as, should they have a say-so in the household? Well, it's the man's. And then you don't care about what your kid wants. But coming from experience, I'm just saying that let your young daughters be kids. Don't force, and even your young men, let them be kids. Let them get dirty. Put the damn antibacterial soap away, please. Let them, eat dirt. It happens.
Agreed.
So this way they don't have to feel 700 years old when they're 50. Okay? Don't let their childhood just freaking never exist, because now at 50 as a Gen Xer, it's not that I'm reliving my childhood, I'm having one. And it's a beautiful thing. Let kids be kids.
Powerful. Thank you, friend. As always, I appreciate you guys. If you don't follow Mother Hen, please follow Mother Hen. It's a place where I go oftentimes. They'll be live in the afternoon, and I'll scroll by. There'll be some great music playing. I'm thinking, okay, my sister's live. I'm going to sit down and listen for a little while. So thank you for the work that you do, friend. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Have a great day.
You got it. Talk to you too. Listen, we could spend hours talking about this topic, but since we're on it, let's talk about it, because I talk about counter programming often. Where is the counter programming? We all had reactions to the Inside the Manosphere, right? That documentary that talked about, or that focused on, a lot of the red pillars and the manosphere and the MRAs and that whole group of people. MRAs are men's rights activists, right? They went into this as a grift, and most of them acknowledge that they're their clicks, right? Where's the counter programming? It doesn't have the same resonance when men who are similar age to those red pillars, it doesn't have the same impact. It doesn't have the same impact to say how important it is to be defending the rights of others, how important it is to treat women with the respect that they deserve, how important it is to be an accomplice in the fight that marginalized communities face every single day. It's not sexy. What's sexy is Lamborghinis and condos in Florida, right? And six-pack abs and access to to podcasts and beautiful women on your arm, right? That's sexy. That sells, especially to 16, 17, 18-year-old boys. Although that number's getting younger, 14, 15, 16-year-old boys now. Where's the counter programming? I have said this before, and I'll say it again. Right now, those of you that are parents of children that age, because they're children, girls and boys, your parenting skills are going to be tested. You are really going to have to be on your game. This is why I don't think you can be your kid's friend. You've got to be that wall between those things that are harmful, and you can make those decisions as to what are harmful, and their future. What's the counter programming? Yeah, the gentle parenting thing, I've never really been a fan, to be honest. It's like bad behavior is bad behavior. That's it. Public embarrassment, I've used that in the past. I don't recommend it, but I remember moments when my kids were acting crazy, and I'm like, look at all the people in the restaurant looking at you guys. That's probably not the best move, but it worked. It worked. Yeah, the timeout thing. Listen, I'm not here to give parenting advice, right? I'm not. What I've seen, though, is inconsistencies. And kids pick up on that shit, right? Kids pick up on it. If you're going to be inconsistent, if you threaten to say, I'm going to take away your phone or whatever, and then 2 minutes later, because you don't want to deal with it, you give their phone back to them, that they're going to continue to push. They're going to continue to push on it. So just be consistent, whatever it is. Whatever your style is, just be consistent. Hi, Eris. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
So I know we kind of went past this topic already, but can I roll it back for 1 second back to the Florida elections and paper?
Please, sure.
Voting?
Yeah.
Okay. So how quick do you think Trump is going to say there was fraud because he lost the House and the mayor in his own district?
Of course he is.
Because that's the minute that you brought that up, that Mike Johnson was like, oh, there's no fraud. But he lost both of those. He's probably losing his ever-loving mind at this point. He is probably absolutely losing it that he is now being represented by Democrats. Oh my God, say it ain't so.
I know. I mean, especially like not just in his own neighborhood, literally, but a Trump endorsed candidate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how bad it is. Yeah.
And I also want to say there's a difference between permissive parenting and gentle parenting. Permissive parenting are those ones that let the kid do whatever. Gentle parenting, I've noticed, is more of, now could you please not do that? Please don't do that. Hey, I'm asking you to not do that. Stop!
Yeah. Exactly. I'm not dissing on gentle parenting. It's not something that it wasn't necessarily a book,
I just like to make sure that there's that distinction between permissive parenting, which are the ones that let their kids do whatever, and gentle parenting, where you ask them several times not to, and then forget it, we're done.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not talking to you now. You're not my child. I'm putting you outside. I'm kidding.
Exactly.
But you're right. And I appreciate the perspective. And somebody in my chat just mentioned too. Not only did the Democrat win in Trump's district, but a woman as well. So
yes.
He'll be clamoring for fraud, no doubt about it.
Yes. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you, Iris. You too. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the definition of gentle parenting. Again, just if that's your style, if that's what works for you, that's fine. All I care about is make sure you're paying attention. Make sure you understand exactly what your kids are doing, because there is no counter programming right now. Red pill dominates. The manosphere is dominating social media. It's in places that you thought were safe. Like, how harmful could Roblox be? My kids played Roblox. My kids played my boys to 25 and 23 respectively now, 24 and 23. They played Minecraft still. In fact, they have a server that they share with their sister. We've had these conversations, right? We've talked about it. So, I don't know. Yeah, you're right, Sam. Exactly. So, I don't know. I guess we've got some work to do. We'll see. I mean, I want people to be engaged. That's my concern. MAGA 2028. How are you today?
Epstein, fuck niggers.
Nice. No, Hark, I do understand the theory of gentle parenting. The conversation's not about that today. All I'm suggesting is, if that is your particular approach to parenting, then that's fine. If permissive parenting is your approach to parenting, then that's fine. If your approach to parenting is more authoritarian, if you are very strict, then that's fine too. But that is your style. Whatever is up to you, whatever you choose, if it works for you, as long as you're not abusive to your kids, I'm not here to judge that. All I'm saying is, be engaged. Understand what your kids are doing. That's the point, okay? Parents aren't doing gentle parenting correctly at all. That's sort of my point, right? Just because you feel like that, right, does not necessarily mean it. I don't want to get on that road. Anyway, okay. Yeah, you can be strict and firm, and just be consistent. That's everything that I've read, everything that I've studied, everything I've learned about parenting is you just got to be consistent. You can't back away if you're going to make a hard decision. Like, if you're not going to let your kid go to the party. By the way, there's a party at my house this weekend because Dad's away. We had a conversation about it. We're fine. Yeah. So again, if you're gonna say you can't go to your friend's house, and that's going to be the rule, that's going to be the consequences. I'm a big believer in natural consequences, right? Listen, you did this is what's going to happen. Sorry. Just be consistent. Just hold to your guns, so to speak. Okay. Hi, Neil.
Just getting back to what's going on with the conservatives, it's all about this Mountains mandate and the quiver movement. There really is no logic there. They treat girls and women like they're just objects to be used, and it really is terrible. I mean, I've done research on these groups. It's very disturbing. They're very deeply in our government. They're not like on the outside anymore. They're in the inside.
True. Very true. Yeah.
And, it's just disturbing. And I just wanted to say that it was way back. I know in the previous discussion, but that's what really disturbs me.
You got a bad connection today, Neil, but thanks for jumping in. I appreciate that. You're right. Amy Dunn just sent me this as a therapist. So the 4 parenting styles: permissive, child-driven, rarely gives or enforces rules, overindulges child to avoid conflict. This is on the responsiveness continuum. There's authoritative, solves problems together with child, sets clear rules and expectations, open communication, and natural consequences. Neglectful would be uninvolved or absent, provides little nurturance or guidance, indifferent to a child's social and or emotional and or behavioral needs. And then authoritarian, as opposed to authoritative. Authoritarian would be parent-driven, sets strict rules and punishment, one-way communication with little consideration of child's social, emotional, and behavioral needs. I would put myself into the authoritative bucket. Solves problems together with child, sets clear rules and expectations, open communication, natural consequences. So, yeah. So there you go. Thank you, AD, for sending me that. I appreciate it. Yes, I got that. Okay.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Not too shabby. I think this is a super interesting and important topic. But I just wanted to jump in as an educator at the kind of change that's being seen. In the classroom itself, it's interesting because a lot of behaviors that, for like when I was growing up, it just wouldn't be a thought in my mind to do the things that these students are doing now. And it's because they're so confident that it's fine because they're not getting that redirection or that kind of redirection, but yet I guess education, quote unquote, at home. So everyone's talking about consistency, and that's super important. However, consistency can only flow well if that consistency is seen both at home and in a school setting. There's a lot of parents nowadays that use that idea of gentle parenting to be, quote unquote, best friends with their kid, to have a relationship that kind of teeters on the side of friendship rather than parents. And they can be both. You can be friends with your child, but there also needs to be that line of expressing what's right and wrong. There's this idea of like natural consequences of you do, like, every action has a consequence. For me as a special educator, we focus on the antecedent of a behavior. And it's just called the ABCs. Antecedent, behavior, consequence. And we try to recognize what the antecedent is to why that student acted that way. And if we see that it's because a direction was given and they want attention, then we see a behavior that's not wanted. Gentle parenting, it can be useful in the sense of expressing what's right and wrong in smaller manners, like just to use like kindness, taking into account like motivation. But when it comes to instilling why you're going to do, the stigma is so frustrating. Teachers are not listening. See, here's the problem with that. As an educator, it is not our job to parent. We are not your child's parent. If we need to direct your student or your child multiple times for the same behavior, that means that this is not being addressed at home. So when they come into the classroom and they're showing these behaviors, it gets to a point where we can only do so much, and parents, if you're not going to educate your child at home and hold that same standard at home, as an educator, there's only so much we can do, because there's also that you don't have to ask for us to parent. When your child comes into the classroom acting a certain way, it shows that there is no proper parenting at home. And I'm not speaking for all parents. I'm saying for a majority of parents now. And then there's that, as you can see right now, that argument of, well, it's one of the reasons so many people are leaving teaching too. It's become babysitting. It's become being the parents. It's become, you're expecting us to now educate your child. However, at the same time, when a student comes into the classroom and we have to redirect them so many times, or give a consequence so many times, and we speak to parents sometimes and they're just like, well, we don't see that behavior at home. Well, there's probably a reason that you don't see that behavior at home, because you've created a environment in which that behavior can feel as a pass.
It could also be unintentional too. Like I want to make sure that we're clear here to understand. Like I do agree that parents and teachers have different roles. Oftentimes, though, kids spend more times with their teachers than some of their parents, just because of life circumstances.
Exactly.
But it may not necessarily be the parents not being involved. And I'm not saying that you mean that, but it could be.
No.
There could be lots of factors.
Kids mimic their classmates. Kids mimic their peers.
Exactly.
Kids can mimic another teacher they have. But kids mimic and reach towards technology so much.
Right.
It's hard but it's very, very hard to work with students when you try to keep
Krista, I understand. I think maybe you misunderstood what I was saying. Teachers are not children's parents. My point was, in many cases, children spend more times with their teachers than some of their parents, which is, again, is my argument that I don't think parents should be friends of their kids. You become friendly as they grow older, but there's a line there. I'm not sure if I misstated that, Krista, but no, teachers are not their parents. They're not. And I want to move a little bit into the conversation, but thank you for jumping in today, friend. I appreciate you. And we this is a good conversation, but I want to make sure that we can get other voices as well. So thanks for being here. I appreciate you jumping in today. Thanks a lot. Listen, we're here because, again, we can have these conversations with the smartest chat on TikTok. My point in this entire thing, because this goes back to counter-programming, right? The counter-programming is a concern of mine. If our children are being fed, especially our young men, if they are being fed red pill, manosphere content, we know they are. What is the counter-programming to that? There is none. There is none. Sure, like our show, people are talking about it, yes, but there is none. So the burden then falls more to parents. And whatever your parent style is, whether it's permissive, whether it be the gentle parenting, whether it be authoritative or authoritarian, you have to be paying attention to these things that are happening. And that's why I concern myself with this whole, I'm just going to let them make their own decisions. That could potentially be dangerous. Good morning, friend. How are you today?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for being here. What's on your mind?
You always have just dynamic conversations. So we can relate what you're saying here to the topic at hand, because I think some people aren't seeing the connection. So I was a college professor. I never desired to teach. It's something that I naturally do, that I do very well. And I stumbled into a college teaching job when I was registering my daughter for school, and talking to the ladies who were registering them. They found out I had a master's degree in film. They were like, oh my gosh, go talk to the president. We're looking for more film teachers. Boom, I had a job. Okay. So whether we as the collective, we agree on how kids are raised or not, cool. But this is a fact. If your child, whom you raise according to your standard, whether you're the parent you wish you had, because some people raise their kids that way, or whether you're the parent your child needs, which I recommend that. I recommend that you be the parent that your child needs. I have adult children, so I've made my mistakes. I've gone through, hindsight is 20/20. Whether you understand how your parenting impacts your kids or not, just understand that when they go to college, when they get into the real world, we're not parenting them. And that's exactly what my students expected. So they would send me the freshmen because they knew I was a tough college professor. I was the teacher who would lock the door a minute before class started. You're not going to come to my class late. Now, and let me just say this. I did not go to school to be an educator. I'm a professional who became an educator. So I taught my students the way that it is in the real world. This is how it is on a film set. We don't care about the excuses. I don't care that you broke up with your boyfriend. I know you got gas this morning. Okay, cool. Your tooth hurts. Great. This is a job that needs to be done. So for those who are fans of the TV show A Different World, I was Colonel Taylor. I was the tough teacher who whipped my students into shape. And what is this, 10, 13 years later, they still thank me for the type of teacher that I was to them. So I was given the young people coming in, and they came in with their high school mentality. Some of them still stayed at home. Some of them was the first time away from home. And I could see the type of parenting and the type of things they were allowed to get away with in school and with their parents. Because I had one student tell me, well, Miss Mingo, you should be grateful I came to class. And I told him, I was like, it doesn't matter if you come or not, because I still got paid. So there's a mindset that comes with these young people as they become adults, that if they are not held accountable, and what I taught my kids is you choose the action, you choose the consequence. It's just really that simple. So you're not going to blame me for what's happening. You can't go out the front door complaining that you're not in the backyard. You chose to go out the front door, so you're in the front yard. So you can't not do your homework and then complain you got a 0. Miss Mingo didn't fail you. You failed you. So we can relate. Exactly. You chose. See, and the thing is, people will say, well, I didn't intend for. It doesn't matter what your intention is. The world doesn't operate on your intention. The world operates on what you do and the things that are connected to it. You speed, you get caught by a cop. The potential is that you can get a ticket. Okay. You drive drunk. The potential is something could happen. Okay. So when we start teaching our kids that, then we can teach them how they show up in the world and how they impact the world. And so that can be led to the manosphere, that can be led to the red pill guys and all of that, and the trad wives and all the stuff that we have going on. Because of how students are raised, what they are allowed, what they are taught, what they believe, all of those things then manifest into the adults that they become. So we can fight it out about who parents and who did the what and all that. The fact is we are seeing the results of people's parenting. And again, I have adult children, so I understand that people then take on their own personalities. And I'm not blaming parents for what these adults are doing. It is the foundation. When you become an adult, you build a house upon the foundation in which you were given. So you can build a mansion or you can build a shack. That's up to you. But it's all connected, and we have to stop acting like that, it's the teacher's responsibilities or parents don't have any responsibility. It's like all interwebs. But speaking from firsthand experience with these young people coming in, there is definitely a disconnect with these parents wanting to be their friends. These young people coming in thinking that I'm supposed to coddle them. There's, if you look on TikTok, there's these high school teachers who read emails from parents, and parents are talking about the light is too bright in the class. You told my child to turn the computer off and you embarrassed them. The temperature isn't good enough. We do gentle parenting. We don't believe in homework. So can you please give them something else? So the parents are a part of the problem, but then it lends itself to something bigger when they become adults, because the foundation has a crack in it. So the house that they build is going to have a crack in it as well. So just wanted to share today.
I appreciate that. And those are all, you said it so well, which is what I was trying to say. I'm not here to judge anyone's parenting style, and neither is Kima. No. All we're trying to say is, because I'm genuinely concerned, I'll say it again, I'm genuinely concerned about the lack of counter programming to push back against red pill, manosphere, that whole toxic masculinity culture. I'm genuinely concerned about that.
And that's going to show up. Oh, I'm sorry. And that's going to show up in their jobs too. I mean, I've worked with people on their jobs, and think about how these individuals are going to impact wherever they work, the women that they work with, the other men who may be open-minded and stuff. How are they going to now poison the wells that they plant themselves in when they go out into the world? It's not just, your child in their bedroom. It's not just them in their college dorm. They're going to be unleashed into the world. And they're going to impact us on so many different levels. And we see it now, in your conversations.
Thank you for your perspective and your brain. I appreciate you very much for being here, friend. Have a good day. Be safe out there.
You too. Thank you.
Care. All right. Bye. Yeah, I mean, a great conversation. And somebody just mentioned this, that we're going to do this as a Facts After Dark topic because there's a lot to discuss here. Definitely want to have that conversation. And speaking of that, your idea. Good morning.
Well, hello. This seems like it went kind of not on topic what we usually talk about, but I'm here to kind of bring us back to center because this topic really does relate a lot about the Manister stuff, and how we speak about that whole authoritative parenting is how we help everybody know how to look at their feelings and learn how to navigate them, right? And so when you're told your whole life, shut up, get up, you don't need to cry. Go, like that's the whole thing that authoritative parenting wants to do. Yeah, right? Because we have to teach our kids two things, how to navigate those feelings, and also you still need to go to school. You still need to do you still need to participate in the household work. You still, there's responsibility, high structure, high expectations, and also high attunement. You can be mad and you still need to get to going and get stuff done, right? And so it's the thing that then if it doesn't happen, and it's especially with young boys, right? Like that's where this ties together with that. We apply that authoritative parenting, and I'll go ahead and judge. Yeah, I'll judge. That is the best way to do it. Studies show children thrive the most with authoritative parenting. So as a parent, I want to do the best. And I know all parents, most parents, I would say, majority of parents out there are wanting to do that, right? So that's what you want to strive for. In the same breath, there are days when it's just, we need to go. I don't have time to be attuned to your feelings right now. That's real too. You do it how you do it. You set the intention and you do it. Where it gets in the way is, when we've got these kids that grow up into men that were on that Netflix show. Like you can imagine the parenting they had. That's that whole coddling thing that we talk about, the coddling of the American mind stuff, right? Like we're just going to let you, oh, it's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. Yes, true. And also you have responsibility. So that's kind of,
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're not going to study for the exam, it's not my fault you got the F. That's not on me. That's on you. That's a natural consequence.
At the same time.
I didn't have the battles with homework with my kids. We said they knew they had to do it. They didn't do it. It's on them.
But that's what it looks like.
It worked for me. It may not work for everybody, but it worked for me.
But I'm sure it did work for you, Steve, because what you said about how, when you read that, you said, well, I was probably authoritative. Yeah, you probably were. Knowing your attunement to people's feelings, I'm sure you and the children that you've raised, you very much helped them become very empathetic, attuned humans, and also humans that were responsible and didn't just feel like the whole world owed them something either. Right? Yeah. It's a balance. That's all.
It is.
And so,
you want kids to be kids. I mean, I think you want Sam just mentioned this in the chat. Teachable moments. I think you learn by making mistakes. That's how you learn.
You have to.
If everything comes easy for you, then what do you learn? Like you have to learn how to lose, to learn how to be a gracious loser, but you also have to learn how to be a gracious winner. Right. Those kinds of things that's empathy. That's how we gain empathy. That's how we accept, our own flaws and how we can become accountable. So,
yeah.
Thank you for that perspective. We're definitely going to turn this into a Facts After Dark topic.
I know. It's a great topic. Love you, friend.
It is. Love you more.
By the way, Darius is home. I don't know if you saw. Darius
I saw your pictures. Tell that man we love. Tell that man we love him.
He loves y'all too.
I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. Yeah, so good conversation. What is this? The Olympic Committee has announced a broad ban of transgender athletes in women's events. The decision followed months of speculation over the International Olympic Committee's policy on one of the most contentious issues in sports. The rules will apply at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. The Olympic Committee announces a broad ban of transgender athletes in women's events. Don't we have more important things to do than marginalizing communities again? Hello there, dear. How are you?
Oh,
Cookie.
hello. Hi.
Hi.
First off, I guess I should do my duties and let everybody know that they need to be tapping that screen. And if you can, please donate to the Do Something Tour. His pay apps are in his bio, and it's greatly appreciated. And He's gotten part of it. We're not at the halfway goal yet, but I feel like we'll get there pretty soon.
I think so too. Thank you, friend.
I was just wanting to remind you, since we were talking about how they're getting a hold of our young men. Do you remember, like, before the election, I think I sent you and Amy Dawn a video, and it was actually aimed at like 5, 6, 7-year-olds. So they're getting them very young. I don't know if you remember that. It was like in a video game for kids.
Yeah, like Roblox. I think that's part of what you're talking about how that little breeding ground starts there.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make the parents in the chat aware that they're going very young, much like religion.
Mm-hmm.
They're going after them very young to manipulate them and brainwash them. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
I love you. You know that.
I love you. Bye.
Talk to you. All right. Bye. It's so. I agree, Jess. Right. We have a crush on Cookie's voice. We all do. Yeah. I think that's this kind of, and this sort of permeates into all kinds of things that we discuss here regularly. Okay. Thanks, Greg. Because it relates, right? Think about the president, right? He's never been told no in his life. And even when he has been told no, he's violated women and he's broken the law and he's surrounded by people who have that same philosophy. Now, who knows where people trap? I am not married. No, Juju. Who knows where people go on that continuum, right? Where did that break happen? We can point to lots of opportunities for that indoctrination. Host is goofy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I can be goofy. I think it's endearing. Appreciate that. So how do we fix it? And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but this counter-programming thing is something we really, really have to work on. This is why I'm a huge fan of public education. This is why I'm a huge fan of funding the social safety net, which is why I'm a huge fan of making sure that we have resources available for public health, in particular, pushing back on the stigma that men shouldn't be going to therapy, right? I cannot imagine where I would be in life without therapy. I have to tell you. And if I can be a face of helping men change their approach to it, then I'll gladly take that on. Gladly. That's part of it. Like if you're never told something is, or if your behavior is never corrected, right? Or if you're never told that, dude, this is not okay. That's where other men have to be involved. Other men have to be the ones telling their peers and their cohorts that this behavior is not locker room talk. It's despicable, disgusting behavior. And you've got to do better. So there's that. Let's see, Chris. Hey, buddy.
Good morning, Steve. Happy real opening day. Last night was just one. Today's everybody.
I agree.
You know what's not talked about a lot is the fact that Trump lifted the oil sanctions on Iran, so he basically gave them $14 billion.
I know.
Even though they love to go on about how Obama gave them $1.7 billion when they made the deal, and that was horrible. And oh my God, Obama's doing. But Trump gave them $14 billion.
$14 billion. Correct.
$14 billion. But yeah, we don't hear anything about that. You know? Also, what the hell? Didn't Republicans think participation trophies were wrong? Why do they keep giving them to Trump?
Because Daddy's angry. Daddy needs something to hold on to, apparently.
We have a toddler as a president. So you have to give him shiny things to make him happy.
You do.
Mine.
It's true.
You dangle some keys in front of him.
Our president is Veruca Salt.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I won. No, Daddy, now. It's ridiculous. Well, listen, I just want to say safe travels.
Thank you, bro.
Have a good time. Don't screw around in the airport.
Maybe a little bit.
Steve, you end up in airport jail. It's not a fun place. Trust me.
A little good trouble.
A little good trouble, but you screw around in the airport, you get on all kinds of federal lists. It's not a good thing.
That's true. I'll mind my P's and Q's. I appreciate that advice. I'll have my mini Chris on my shoulder reminding me to not make Made bad decisions. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Take care.
Talk to you later. Take care. Yeah. I don't know. I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. I'm sure I'm on a couple of lists. Yeah, I'm sure. Good morning, Kim. How are you? Kim? Are you there? Kim? Kim? Are you there? I guess not. Okay. Hunter 9777. How are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Good. Well, not good. I'm very mad at our president right now. This just really angers me that he advertised his campaign as no new wars, and now we're at war, and it's just.
Did you vote for him?
I did.
We told you though, but we told you this was going to happen. We told you.
Yeah, but
you know that,
I don't really care that you told me that. That doesn't really matter. What really matters is there wasn't anybody else to really.
No, there was though.
No, there wasn't. You want to vote for the dead? You had the dead guy and the drunk lady. I didn't want to vote for either one of those. So
I'm sorry. So why, sir? Why would you say something like that?
Because it's true. Because it's 100% true. She is an alcoholic that has no business there. She never got voted. Nobody voted for her either.
Hunter, shut the fuck up. If you want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. But stop being a little fucking child. Okay? You were told something and you believed it. You made a decision. You made a conscious decision to vote for a predator. That's on you. Now, if you regret your vote, that's fine. But stop trying to make excuses as to why you did it. Now, you can come off of mute and have a conversation and stop acting like a little child. Understood?
Sure.
Okay. So you made a conscious decision to vote for a person who tried to overthrow democracy. You voted for you made a conscious decision to vote for a person who was found guilty on 34 felony counts. You made a conscious decision to vote for somebody who's found liable in a court of law for violating a woman against her will. You made that conscious decision. So now you are in deconstruction mode. The last thing you should be doing is try to say, well, I didn't want to vote for the alcoholic. You have no information about that whatsoever.
I don't have any information like that. She can't even speak. Are you serious?
Of course you can.
Are you serious? You can document multiple times.
Here we go again. Here we go again, bro. Here we go again. This is your anger. You are now trying to defend your vote. That's all you're trying to do. You're trying to defend your vote. Stop doing that. Stop. You again made a conscious decision to vote for a felon and someone who tried to overthrow democracy. Can't you just stay in that space and say, you know, I'm not done? Can't you just stay in that space and accept the fact that you were told these things were going to happen? Keep in mind, we were all told that if we voted for Kamala Harris, we would see gas prices at $4 a gallon, we would see economic demise, we would see inflation rising, we would see unemployment rising, and we'd be at war with Iran. Well, I voted for Kamala Harris. She didn't win, but all those things happened. I'm not done. I voted for Kamala Harris. She didn't win, but all those things happened. That's your vote. That's not me. That's what you did.
I voted for him. What you need to accept is Kamala and Biden would have done the exact same thing. They said it.
Wouldn't have.
They said it. Hillary Clinton said that she wanted Iran gone. Hillary Clinton said this.
We're not talking about Hillary. Okay? Once again, my guy, I am really
Biden
trying.
had said the same thing.
Hunter. No, that's not
Yes,
true.
it is. It's true.
Hunter,
It's
bro,
true.
I'm going to Stop, my guy, stop. It's not true. You are in your emotions right now because you know the president lied to you. For decades.
Every
Israel was
fucking
trying. I'm
president
not done
lies.
talking.
They all lie.
I'm not done talking. Stop. Try to listen. I want you to listen for a second, okay? I just want you to listen. That's all I'm asking. Just listen. I'm going to make a case for you. I'm going to listen, okay? For decades, Bibi Netanyahu and others have been trying to get an American president to attack Iran. Obama didn't do it. Bush didn't do it. Trump didn't do it the first time, and Biden didn't do it. And here we are. Here we are. There's no justification for this war whatsoever. And you, because you're so up in your feelings about this, are convinced that if Kamala Harris were the president, she would have done the same thing.
Yes, she would have.
But you're wrong about that, man.
No, you're wrong about that. She said she would. She said it in multiple interviews. She talked about Iran.
Cite your source.
Okay, all right. Let me pull it up for you. Well, take a minute. You'll have to wait a second. Hold on,
bro. I just want you to think about something for a second. This is what I want you to think about. This is what I'm asking you to think about. Okay. You're the one that made the conscious decision to vote for Donald Trump. He lied to you about everything. And your answer was, well, all politicians lie. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But the president lies to you every day. He is telling you short-term pain, long-term gain regarding gas prices.
The media is saying the exact same thing.
I'm not done.
Yes, they are. No. You can hear this statement over and over again by the media.
Hunter, you have a real problem with self-control, bro. You have a real problem with self-control. Normally in a conversation, when someone is talking, you don't talk over them. Okay, I'm giving you more time than I would normally give people because I'm trying to get through to you. You are making excuses. All presidents lie. The media lies. You need to own this shit. You voted for a convicted felon. You voted for an adjudicated sexual predator. You voted for a pathological liar. You voted for somebody who tried to overthrow democracy. You voted for somebody who's taking away your rights as we speak. And all you're trying to do in your emotions is to say, well, they all do it. Maybe for just a second, you could take a step back and say, you know what? I got fucking hosed because I believed Trump. You made that decision. You made that decision. You're the one that decided on that. So what you're trying to do now to justify to say, well, same thing would have happened under Kamala.
It would have.
How do you know that?
Because of the actions of Iran that escalated.
No, they didn't escalate. We wouldn't have been pulled out of the JCPO the president pulled us out of the JCPOA. That was working. The president told you, Hunter, the president told you last summer that he bombed the Iranian nuclear facilities and then obliterated them. What does obliterate mean, Hunter?
So would you rather give them billions of dollars?
Hunter, what does obliterate mean?
Take away, I guess, destroy.
So if they were obliterated back last May, how could they have been 2 weeks away less than 6 months later?
I don't know.
That's what your president told you. He told you that it was obliterated. He told you that, man. He said to you that it was obliterated. So why are we in Iran?
It's a good question. That's a really good question.
So that's sort of my point, man. So it's easy to sit here and say that Kamala would have done the same thing. No, absolutely not. What
she would have given them $200 billion.
That's what
Let's just send them some money. Let's send them money.
That's what Pete Hegseth is asking for, $200 billion more to finish the job.
But no. Why did Obama send the money to Iran? Why was that money given to them?
Part of the sanction relief, my guy. If they agreed to the terms of the JCPOA, it was their money. Do you not pay attention to anything? Like, where do you get your news from?
Okay.
Honestly, why? So if I know this information,
cool?
Hunter,
that makes sense.
Hunter,
that's smart. Hunter, that's a smart idea.
Hunter, if I know this information, why don't you?
If I know this information, why don't you?
But you don't. I do.
But you know everything, right?
You've got it all figured out. You are the god of the world. This is why I don't vote
this is what we're doing.
Democrat, because of people like you. You think you know everything.
As we learned earlier,
You've
people
got
who
it
are
all figured
smart.
out.
Well, as we learned earlier, conservative white men in America are not the brightest bulbs on the tree.
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe people that read fascist books and want to be secretly just want to be communist don't have the best brains either.
What is fascism, Hunter?
What is fascism? Exactly what we're living in.
Under the Trump administration, I would agree.
Under any administration.
Oh, kind of walked into that point. Hi, Ash. I think Ash wanted to talk to you about something, Hunter.
I was just going to ask Hunter to stop coping after he's having a decent conversation and being asked the right questions. Instead of flipping this now and acting 13, can you just have the conversation?
Oh, so just listen to your bullshit?
No,
Okay.
no.
Go ahead with your bullshit.
So when Fax was asking you those questions and you said, like, good question, maybe we should look into that. That's bullshit?
No, my bullshit is that we gave them billions of dollars for no reason.
Well, is it?
I don't care what sanctions or what kind of. The fact that we set that up to start with was absolutely stupid.
Do you understand why, though, Hunter?
Yes, I understand why, because we like to kiss ass.
Why? Then tell us why.
No, but why? Why? Just tell us why.
We like to kiss ass. That's the only reason.
No, why, though, Hunter? Just why? If you don't know, just say, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe to serve bail. Maybe. I don't know.
Part of the negotiation of the JCPOA, which was the Iran nuclear deal that was working, was if Iran had agreed to these terms, then their money could have been released from the banks to benefit their economy. That's part of the reason why Iran agreed to the terms, because they needed the influx of cash. That's why. So if you were concerned about that, Hunter, then you must be so fucking angry that Trump removed sanctions on Iranian oil. If you're so concerned about that, you must have lost your shit. Are you trying to run now and you can't?
That's what it looks like.
That's my guess.
I didn't have an opinion one way. I mean, I do. I was just wondering if he could just engage in the conversation, because it's just really frustrating to watch you all walk into the point, and then instead of continuing to ask the questions, you just turn into, oh, you know everything. You know everything. My 9-year-old says that to me when she realizes that she made a mistake and she's wrong. All right. Well, he's right. Cool. Run, Forrest.
Right. Yeah. Run, Forrest, run. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
I have a question. This was from earlier today. I couldn't find it. I thought it was, I know Roy Moore had allegations and he is old as a dinosaur. And, but wasn't there a clip of him talking about how they should keep the age of consent, or that they wanted to lower the age of marriage because his grandmother was married at like 13? He basically told the story of his grandmother. There was a woman who came up afterwards and said that she was married, or maybe it was her. No, it was her. She said, well, I can't remember. Somebody came up and said it was either her or her mother who was married at 13 and had a bunch of kids. I couldn't find the clip, but I wanted to send it to you just because, like, it's not normalized, but it is normalized. And we're trying to unnormalize it. Is that a word?
Correct.
But they
yes.
But they keep
denormalize or whatever.
Keep hearing these clips about, well, my grandmother, they're fine now. They're happy now that, she pumped out 13 kids and they had a flourishing life. No, she was married to an adult man and she had no choice in that matter.
What was the number you shared? 40,000? Is that right?
Well,
did I read that right?
Yeah. So the stats are that about 50,000 people, children, so under the age of 18, are married each year, with about, like, it fluctuates, like 85% or so are minor. So some of them are like two minors marrying each other. But the majority of them, about 85% of the 50,000 are, so I don't know if I did that math right, don't embarrass me, are minors.
You're asking me?
are minors married to adults. There's a good show. It's not a good show, but it's I think it's still on Hulu. If it's not, you can find it. It's called Child Brides. But they talk about this and how prominent it still is in the United States. And these children are entered into a contract by other adults, and then they can't get out of the contract unless the adults let them out. So they get married, and they can't legally start a divorce because they're a minor. And what happens often is then their husband becomes their guardian. So then they can't get out of that marriage. And the goal is to impregnate them right away. So they're usually promised, this is probably so off topic. I don't know if this is what y'all were talking about, but they're promised education and going to college, but they get them pregnant right away. And then that's it. So yeah, I think people don't realize it's shocking. 40,000 minor children, but the majority of them are probably going to be girls. I'd have to look it up. Married to adult men.
I think some of the story about Roy Moore too is I think he started this relationship with this girl who was like 13 or 14. And then his story was basically that, I'll paraphrase, but I'm more or less grooming her until she's 18 and old enough to marry.
Ick.
Yeah. That guy. Yeah, that guy was almost a United States Senator. That guy.
Yeah. Which just goes to show that we've just got to get that old mindset out, because you can't have people making laws based on the fact that their grandma had 13 kids before she was 20. Like, what?
Yeah.
Can we not do that? And I'll just go ahead and put this out there if anybody's following the news. People who are, well, I'm not going to say people. Just the Duggars, okay? I'm just going to say the Duggars, all right? Because now we're on 19 child endangerment and sex acts against children and counting. So
is that what the number is now? 19? Damn.
Well, their show was called 19 and counting. So I don't know how many kids they have now. But the second child, the second boys was just arrested for child molestation in that family. And yeah, so this mindset is harming children in more ways than we know.
Thank you for jumping in today, friend. Are you live today?
No, I got to get my stuff in order. I think I'm going to drive to Milwaukee late tonight just to make sure yeah, the wife was already arrested too. Yeah. So I think I might just get some stuff together and then drive to Milwaukee tonight to the airport, and maybe I'll go live from the airport at 2 a.m.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. I will see you in New York.
Okay.
Safe travels.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later. All right. Bye. Again, the situation that we witnessed with Hunter, it is a really simple conversation. And this is part of, again, I think it's necessary. I'm going to play the sound again right now because I think it's so appropriate that we have this clip. I think I still have it. Maybe I don't. I'm sure I have it someplace. Hang on a second here. I just want to use this opportunity to educate Hunter, because there's lots of opportunity here for growth for you, sir. Lots of opportunity. I'll find it. Is it? No. Give me a second, guys. Everybody keep tapping, please. If you want to support the Do Something Tour, you can do so at Factsstillmatter, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. You'll find those links in the link tree in my bio, or you can just search for me on Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. I just want to find this because I think here we go. I want you to think about the conversation we just had with Hunter and listen to this clip.
Really conservative. There's a scientific reason for that.
Hang on one second.
There's a scientific reason for that. Researchers at Saarland University and Philipps University in Germany launched a study in 1987. They identified over 7,000 gifted third-grade students, then followed them into adulthood for 35 years. They measured their intelligence and tracked their political views. And what they found is crazy. Men with high IQ consistently reject conservative politics. Men with average to low IQ embrace conservative politics. They called it the cognitive complexity openness hypothesis. Here's how it works. Smarter people are more open to new experiences. They are better equipped to handle complex and new ideas. They can handle two contradictory thoughts at the same time and evaluate them separately. Conservative ideology demands the opposite. They need someone to tell them what to think because thinking is hard for them. Complex ideas overwhelm them. Nuance confuses them. So they pick the party that never asks them to think. Just believe, obey, and submit to authority. For high IQ men, that kind of rigid thinking feels intellectually suffocating. So they reject it.
Correct.
Research published in 2019 found that men with low emotional intelligence are significantly more likely to hold authoritarian political views. This pattern is consistent across decades of research. The smarter a man is, the less likely he needs rigid rules to make sense of the world. This is why Trump's base is overwhelmingly men without college degrees. This is why MAGA rejects science, experts, and complexity. This is why facts don't work on them. You aren't debating someone who sees the world differently. You're debating someone whose brain cannot handle the complexity required to see the world clearly. Conservative political ideology for these men is not about values. It's about comfort. It is the ceiling of their ability to think cognitively. The data is clear. Smarter men reject everything the Republican Party stands for. That's why the right loves the poorly educated. If it weren't for them, they wouldn't have a party.
Preach. So true. It's like so true. Damn. We just saw it in real time. You know, that's an opportunity here. I wanted to try to inform our friend. It's easy, right? It's easy. Brandolini's law again. It's easy to believe the lie. If your argument is that all you're right, Paige. It's smaller, not just smaller amygdalas, if you know what I mean. Hey, now, anyway, the science and the data is there. The experience that we just witnessed. It's so easy to say, oh, all politicians lie. Sure, I'll give you that. No problem. Sure, if you want to have that conversation, we can have that conversation. But just because you believe that does not in any way give you a reason to make excuses for not voting for Kamala. You can use whatever trope you want. You can use whatever bullshit you want. But we know what happened. You were told was going to happen, and sure enough, here we are. Sadly. Patience is the virtue. Mr. Scott, how are you today? Mr. Scott?
Oh, that was an accident.
Okay,
I'm
no
sorry.
problem. No problem. Thanks for being here. No problem at all. I see you. Let me just clear a few more folks out. I'll bring you up in a minute.
Hello.
Olu, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, first of all, I'm an American citizen. I voted for Kamala. I'm sorry. I just want to have a very brief contributions to the conversation you had with Hunter earlier. And I just want to have a brief contributions to your conversation with Hunter earlier.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I do not believe personally that the United States of America should decide who has nuclear weapon or not. Number one. Secondly, Iran is about 100 million people with huge resources to actually impact the world global economy. Israel literally has none. And they have nuclear weapon. They are less than 9 million people. Why would you think that Pakistan should have nuclear weapon? India should have nuclear weapon. North Korea should have nuclear weapon. Israel should have nuclear weapon. Saudi has nuclear weapon by proxy because they are in military alliance with Pakistan. But Iran should not have it. I disagree with that, number one. Number two, how many times has this guy...
Let me just make sure you hold on. You disagree with Iran? I'm trying to understand. You disagree with Iran having a nuclear weapon? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't agree with that. Okay. Anybody should decide who has nuclear weapon or not.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, the fact that Israel has nearly 60 or 90 warheads, as they claim. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, okay, if Ukraine has not given up their nuclear weapon site, trust me, Russia will not have dared to attack them today. That was from the Bucharest deal. but the world agreed to protect Ukraine. A lot of people don't understand it. That was why Ukraine gave up their nuclear site, which was under the former Soviet Union. And the world agreed that don't worry about it. Give it up. We're going to protect you when Russia come for you. And that was the reason America was trying to do. That was what Joe Biden was trying to explain to Americans at the time. But maybe he didn't do it in a way that could really hit people's understanding. Russia would not have attacked Ukraine if they knew they had nuclear weapons. Even United States of America knows very well that Iran does not have nuclear weapons. That's why they could dare to hit them. They know. Trump knew that. Israel knew that. So if Pakistan, of all countries, could have nuclear...
Oh, didn't know you went, sir. You muted. You're on mute, sir. There you go. You're back.
Okay, let me now land finally. I don't want to bother because I guess you prefer to have somebody from the, other side.
No, sir. No. It's fine. I'll talk to anybody here. This is an interesting conversation. You just went on mute for some reason. I just wasn't sure what happened there.
Okay, so this guy should try to open his mind up. I'm talking about Hunter right now because he was saying something about Iran being given money.
You're on mute again, sir. Oh, Lou, if you want to come back, you can request again. I am all about. I don't think anybody should have a nuke. I don't think anybody should. But it's the irony that the complaints coming from the conservative right, and they never go after the I country. They never bother to bring that up. They never bother to bring up that the I country locked out international investigators and inspectors. They don't really want to talk about that either. I don't think anybody should have nukes. No one should. If no one has it, then there's no deterrent necessary. But here we sit. So, Hunter, I know you're still in here. This is an opportunity for you, right? This is a real, true opportunity here. I was willing to have a conversation with you, as was Ash. You were faced with a simple question, right? Why then pivot to something else and just address the fact that you got lied to? You were lied to. I thought that's where the conversation was going. It's how it started. You were lied to. We told you. You said you didn't care that we told you so. Well, okay. But we told you. Everybody told you what was going to happen. And it's exactly what happened. That's more of a you problem, my dude, than a me problem. Just wanted to throw that out there. Good morning, my brother. How are you today?
Good morning.
Nope. Where'd you go?
Yep, right here. Sorry.
The
music started playing for some reason. Let's talk about things just from a scientific and factual basis, right? Because this is the clip of that study did a disservice to the study, but I also understand that not everybody would want my version of the white paper, and that clip was probably the version of the white paper that gets to more people, right?
Yeah. So it's summarized. I would agree it's summarized, but I think there's a bigger point there, and I think the summary's pretty good, to be honest.
And that's where I'm gonna dig just a little, but I'm just gonna use a couple of terms. So, young white Christian men for the last 40 years have been programmed, right? And this is a part of cult mentality and brainwashing, right? And Danielle has talked about this, right? So what you do is you program people to respond emotionally to particular stimuli, right? And the goal of that is to keep them gullible. Because when young men are gullible before their cortex fully develops, they only react emotionally because they were never taught how to think critically. And that's what that study is getting to, right? So if you keep people gullible, what you'll see is guys like Hunter will come up because they can't add 2 and 2 together. It doesn't mean that Hunter is stupid, right? It just means that he was programmed to react in a particular manner, right? And so what science shows is that you can tell students immediately who hate math and science, not because it's a struggle for them, but because before the assignment has ever been assigned, they've been programmed to give up and to say, I can't deal with the struggle emotionally.
Obi, keep going. Keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. I can't deal with the struggle emotionally. All I can do is default to anger. Anger leads to resentment, and then it's just a vicious cycle, right? So, Hunter, if you're out there, when you say things like so and so said this, so and so said that, but you're not able to critically think, how did I hear it? Where did I hear it? Is that source trusted? That's because you've been programmed to be gullible and not critically think and just assume that clips of others talking about someone must be true. Vice President Harris was indeed the most qualified person to have ever run for president. Her skills that she has because of her education and the jobs that she has honed her critical thinking skills to heights that men like you can't reach. Now, as someone who is an alcoholic, what I can also tell you is alcoholics are the most qualified persons to look at someone and figure out if they have a problem with alcohol. By the way, she does not. But you know who has a problem with substance abuse? The guy that's the current president, right? And we know this, and we know this because of science. And because of math, because it's plural, because there's more than one type of math, data has been gathered about men like you. Again, you're probably not stupid. You're just angry. You're confused. But all of your counterpoints were childish. It was if at 12 you put the car in park and refused to put it back in drive. Again, I don't think it's your fault, right? How much of it is willful ignorance? That depends on your age and whether you're ever willing to admit that you don't know and can't explain why you feel the way you do. Get therapy. Talk to someone. Figure this out. Before you get into any kind of relationship with another human being, you have to know who you are. And what we know is that we want you to have health care. We want you to have a good job. We want you to have education. And Fax was up here willing to have a conversation, but as soon as Ash showed up, he clammed up. That's also very telling, right?
Sure is.
Without making assumptions, I would say he probably falls into a couple of different groups that we've witnessed when they come up. Now, let me just say something about the money in Iran, because this constantly pisses me off, because so many people get this wrong. First, the money belongs to the Iranian people and the Iranian government, full stop. How do I know this? Because banks around the world seized the money. So if you're a member of the UN and those UN sanctions are placed, banks are forced to do it. But the money didn't just go directly to them, much like the oil reserves. The money was put in a trust and certain conditions had to be met. And the tranches, right? So the levels of money that could be sent back was all a part of a series of agreements. but we didn't.
South Korea didn't like South Korea and Qatar, weren't they involved? And they had to be
and Japan
rules. Had to be humanitarian. Had to be for infrastructure development. That's what was in the deal. So,
but keep in mind, it's their money. It's not like we went to Congress and said, "Man, can I have $200 billion for something I started, but I haven't been able to figure out how to end it because I realize I don't know what I'm doing, and I keep violating the flag code by wearing a flag as a pocket square." Don't get me started on that. Anyway, so here's the deal.
Yeah.
Much like the professors and teachers that speak about Donald Trump and how stupid he is, I'm okay with that because Donald Trump is a grown-ass man and has had a lifetime to stop being so willfully ignorant. Hunter probably hasn't. I doubt Hunter's reached the age of 30. But listen, if you want to really understand why it is you're gullible, why don't you join us on a Friday night and talk about your feelings? Because then we might actually understand who you are. I'm not going to feel sorry for you, and other people aren't going to feel sorry for you. But we could help you. We could help you grow and be a productive member of society that deserves all of the things that people on the left fight for.
Indeed. Every day. I love you, my dude. I appreciate you for being here and for your massively large brain.
My brain is the same size as any other person's brain. It just has extra computing power. That's all.
It certainly does. And by the way, that mug that you send me, that's going to be in your quiver very, very soon. If you know, you know. I love you, my dude. I'll talk to you later.
Hey now. Love you.
Hey now. Love you. Bye. Yeah. Right. I mean, no notes. It's a, you guys know me, like I'm willing to talk to anybody. And I generally don't, allow the conversation to go too far, but this is a test for me as well, right? Because we're going to be out on the road. I'm going to be running into hunters out in America, wherever that might be, as we go through the Do Something tour. The question then becomes, stop making excuses, right? Stop. Just stop making excuses. It's not a good look. You were wrong. You were lied to. You made a mistake. You voted for somebody under a promise of something, whatever that was. There was, whether it was me or with other people or even people within your own party, right? Told you. You elect this guy, this is exactly what's going to happen. And don't forget, we were told that if we voted for Kamala, arguably the most qualified person to ever run for the presidency, if we voted for her, all the things that are happening now under the Trump administration were going to happen. I know you're angry about it, Hunter. I know you want to find somebody to blame. I know you want to say, hey, it would have been worse if I voted for the black woman. That leads us to a conclusion to make. The reason you didn't vote for Kamala is not because you think she's a drinker, is not because you don't think she can speak. It's because she's a black woman. That is the reality. You need to embrace that. You need to own it. And you know what? If you can do that, if you can go through that exercise and that deconstruction, I'll sit across the table from you. I really will. But you got to be willing to stop saying, my vote for Trump was bad, but if I voted for somebody else, it would have been worse. No, it would not have been. We would not be in this situation right now if you had just done what people told you and say, listen, you may not be a big fan of Democrats. You may not agree. I mean, I could be critical of Kamala Harris's policies. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what we're all supposed to do. I wish she was a bit more progressive. Quite frankly, that's an honest assessment. Similar criticism I would have against the Biden administration. Similar. Connor, request up. Because that's a crazy, bro. That's what we're talking about. That's a crazy statement to make, that we would be in a worse situation. How could it be worse? Now, you spent the time to type in all caps. You went through the exercise to type in all caps to make that statement. It's wild. The Maquis, how are you today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, Steve?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
I just have a point of view about why MAGA thinks that all politicians lie, and it's because every single one of their politicians has lied to them.
Let me understand what you're saying. So are you saying that because they assume because their elected Republican politicians have been lying to them, they then assume that they all lie? Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Because I know Bernie hasn't been lying, and he's been at this for what, 60, 80, 100 years?
40. 40 years. No, I'm not that old. I'm old, but I'm not that old.
And I mean, as you pointed out, Harris wasn't lying. She was actually predicting.
Correct.
So she wasn't lying. I mean, yes, they all promise things that they can't always fulfill when they get into office because of the party that's up against them, you know, blocking judges and whatnot. But
yeah, no, you're right. That's a fair perspective. That's a fair perspective, Maquis. Thanks for jumping in today, friend. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for
thanks for letting me up, Steve.
You got it. So, I mean, it's an interesting point, right? It's an interesting point. You've been conditioned to think that everybody in elected office lies, and we know that this is just not true. There's the game of politics, right? Let me ask you guys a question. Okay, there's 1,400 people in here. By the way, guys, if we can get to 400K, that'd be awesome. Let me ask you a question. This is the smartest chat in TikTok. Do you believe a broken campaign promise is a lie? Do you believe that? Do you believe if somebody makes a promise on the campaign trail and they can't get that done, do you believe that that's a lie? I don't believe that's a lie. I believe it's a broken campaign promise. The difference is if you say, we are going to, let's think of a campaign promise. We can use the ACA. I think that's a good one because it's a hot button issue. The ACA initially was a much more expansive approach to Medicare, to healthcare, right? Obama had to make no new wars is exactly where I'm going. Obama had to make concessions to get it passed. So was it a lie or was it a broken promise that we were going to get something more than we got? That may not be the best example, but I think it works. Compare that to no new wars. Or compare that to, Joe Biden, the statement he made about cancer. And people turned on and said, Joe Biden said he was going to cure cancer. It's not what he said. It's not what he said. He made claims about we've come so far in medical research. If we continue to do this, then there's a strong possibility we may be able to cure some types of cancer. I'm not up here to defend Joe Biden. I'm talking about political speak. This is what happens. So people want to jump on this whole bandwagon. This is what happens with the right, the death rattle. You're seeing this. Danielle has talked about this, our friend, the Indian cult lady. When the cult is crumbling around you, the leader sees it first. The leader sees it. Trump knows that he's hemorrhaging in his polls. He knows that he's got the lowest approval rating he's ever had, with the exception of days after J6. He sits at 36% now approval rating. His lowest ever was 34%, and that was just days after J6. So he sees it. He knows. His base is not yet there yet. People like Hunter are angry, but not angry enough just to say, I fucked up. I fucked up. I really fucked up. People were telling us, yeah, I don't believe with the guy. I don't believe the gray-haired guy with blue fingernails. I don't believe him. But enough people told me that this was going to happen. It happened. I fucked up. So the next step for people deconstructing is to say, yeah, I have nobody to blame but myself. I voted for that. Instead, what they're doing is, well, it would have been worse if Kamala had won. It would have been worse if I elected the lady who apparently is a drunk and can't talk or slept her way to the top. It would have been worse. So how then do we fight back? This goes back to what we discussed earlier about counter-programming to the red pill. So counter-programming, at least from my perspective, is to remind people, you know what? You screwed up. Okay, I got it. Your vote harmed people. Are you evolved enough to accept that? And as we know, we've played that clip a couple times this morning, conservative white men who are the target, who are the strongest demographic still in America that voted for Trump, okay? They're not there. They're not there yet. They're not there because they're not the, I'm going to be careful how I say this. They're not the most highly educated demographic. So they've been told something. And they've been conditioned to believe that. And like I've said to you guys millions of times, when you're deconstructing from something, it's difficult, especially since TJ, good man. Hearts in the chat for TJ. TJ said, I made a mistake. There, I admit it. That's evolution. We joke around with TJ. TJ started this relationship that we have here with some pretty bad things. To be honest, he said some pretty horrible things, but he's been willing to sit in here and listen. Hearts in the chat for TJ, please. Been willing to sit in here and listen. And listen. My mods know me. Obi knows me. My friends in this space know me. If I'm wrong, I want to know that I'm wrong so I can correct the behavior or, qualify what I said or what I meant, which is we're careful to have those conversations in here, which is why we're so sort of strict with our rules, right? Like we would rather be last and then correct than first and wrong when it comes to the way in which we break news here. But the commitment has to come from people willing to accept it. If TJ's willing to accept it, that's great. Right? Who was our guest? Hunter. Hunter's not there yet. Hunter's not ready yet to unpack why it was that he allowed himself to believe it. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I just know people. It's what I do. It's probably the thing that I'm best at. Maybe a few other things, but that's for a different conversation. I'm kidding. Don't go there. Anyway, that's what I'm really good at. I'm good at reading people. So when you have these conversations, I can tell early on as we go through that exercise where this is going to go. And he's not ready. That's okay. You started, though, because you said, yeah, he lied to me. Exactly. Be cool. He lied to me. And instead of saying, he lied to me, and I should have learned my lesson, I should have done more research, his response was, well, it would have been worse if Kamala was the president. It would have been worse if I put the drunk, slept her way to the top black woman in power. Because he's still trying to find a way to justify his vote. Yeah, it was bad with Trump. He lied, but it would have been worse with Kamala. There's a lot of unpacking that has to happen there. A lot of unpacking.
All right,
Connor.
I just got one question. Just one. I'll make it quick.
First of all, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
So I just want to ask the simple question of, because I'm not really a Trump fan either. Like, I agree with you on most of these points. But do you think we would have been less in the pocket of Israel if we had Kamala than Trump? Because I think either way, it would have been the same. No, because she take 5.4 billion or million from AIPAC. Like, it's the same thing.
Well, okay. Once again, you asked me a question.
Yeah. I was just finishing my statement. Yeah. You go ahead.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that our foreign policy towards the Middle East would not be anything like it is with our president, because we have no foreign policy. So if the question is, is the ultimate question, would we be in a war with Iran right now if Kamala were the president? Is that your question ultimately?
I mean, I think it's a little deeper than that, but like we don't got to get into all that. But yeah, probably.
So no, do you think we would be?
I mean, I honestly do think so. I think the amount of dirt that they have on us and the amount of they could really have any president doing backflips in there if they really wanted to.
Right, but you see, so that's similar to what Hunter said, Connor. Right. The reason I challenge you on that is because don't forget, we had multiple administrations, and Bibi Netanyahu in particular, asking multiple American presidents to invade Iran. And none of them did that, including Joe Biden.
Yeah, but we've been in wars with Iraq.
Let me finish. Let me finish, please. Numerous administrations at the request of Bibi. Right? So all of a sudden, we get to the point now where Trump is in charge. The intelligence community around the world is saying, listen, there's no threat of nukes. Mm-hmm. So why are we in Iran, Connor?
Yes.
Why?
No. I completely agree with that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not for this war at all. I'm just saying we got to look back at, like, Obama when he attacked, Libya, I'm pretty sure. And Iraq and all that, like that was all the same thing. That was all Israel ties in those. There was a whole bunch of Mossad agents involved and there's different things like that. Like it was very weird.
Let's be careful. Let's be careful, because what you're doing is you're trying to justify this. You may not realize that.
No. Well, I'm just saying either way it is bad. I'm saying we need somebody new.
Well, how about this?
We need new stuff.
Okay, I don't disagree, but how about this? How about we separate that for just a second? You voted for Trump, correct?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Who'd you vote for?
I voted middle. I forget who the middle person was, but I voted Green. Green Party. I don't like either Kamala or... I think I think RFK was on my ballot, actually. I think I voted him. He was on independent on my ballot.
So the midterms are coming up in November.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, what state do you live in?
Mass.
Okay. So I want you to vote for the Democrat.
Okay. Why?
You know why? Because
I think our government Democrats aren't doing the greatest right now, but
well, let's talk about that. So why would you say that? Give me some data as to why you think.
Okay, hold on. I keep seeing people saying I wasted my vote. What is all this waste and vote stuff?
Connor,
what is all that?
Ignore the chat. You're talking to me, bro.
People embarrassing. Nah, I'm just saying these people embarrassing.
Just ignore it, okay? Just ignore it. Ignore it. You're talking to me, all right? So why do you think the government of Massachusetts is doing a lousy job?
I just think that they're trying to do with driving right now, trying to put taxes on driving, trying to put gas mileage taxes and different things like that. Those are all pretty. But what do you can't even drive in your own state is crazy.
Sure, but what do you get for those things in Massachusetts, Connor?
It goes to wherever they put our taxes into, which I mean.
No, but what do you
who knows what that is?
Well, we do know. We do know what those things are. So what do you get for it?
Do you know what?
I do. You know what? You want to know why? Do you want? You have the best education, public education system in America.
Okay. You know how inflated these numbers are?
Wait.
They have so many.
Connor.
Okay.
Bro, Connor, shh. Hold on a second.
You act like you know every place in America. I know that these numbers are inflated. I've lived here. I know
Connor,
that they do this on purpose.
you don't know that. You don't know that.
I went to school there. I do know that.
Connor, how would you know? When I asked you what the money was going towards, you said whatever they decide. And I told you that Massachusetts ranks number 1 in the country in education.
Yes.
They also rank number one in the country as far as incidences of low incidence of gun violence. They've got some of the best health care in America. They've got protections for marginalized communities. They've got a super strong social safety net. Massachusetts is at the top of the list of where people want to live. So you may not agree with those things. I don't know why you wouldn't, but that's where your taxpayer dollars are going. Matt, are you in the chat? If you want to come up as a masshole. Anyway.
Yeah, you can go.
So what's wrong with that? Now, conversely, Annie left. Andy left. Damn it. You see, that's a do something conversation for me right there. Right? That's a do something conversation. Those conversations will happen when I'm out on the road, and you can't just run. You can hide, but you can't run. Meg, how are you, friend?
Hello, I'm at work, so I gotta make this really quick. I don't live in Mass, but I live pretty much on the border in Rhode Island. I just want to let that last guest know that the education system is good if you take advantage of it. You can't just go to school and then go home and then expect like something to just plop on your lap. But if you actually take advantage of it, and use it, then it does work out pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would challenge that a little bit because we're talking public education. They have the best public education system in America. There's no denying it. They have it for a very long time. So that benefits everybody. And yeah, sure, you got to participate, but you're required to participate if you're an adolescent, unless people decide they want to send their kids to a homeschool or whatever that might be. But that's a different conversation.
Right. I know looking at other schools, I know they we run into problems with this too, but like the fact that we have all these advanced systems for these kids to learn, we have the tablets and we had the at-home education system when we had COVID, all these children had access to be able to still learn. In Massachusetts, where in other states and stuff, it was a lot harder because the schools weren't able to provide all that. And that, I don't know if, again, what that ties into it of what you were saying, but you have to look at what other people have, I feel like, and just be grateful for what you do have, because Massachusetts really does have a great education system. And I just think it all has to do with, again, not like you said, you do have a point. I'm taking what you said into consideration, but taking advantage of what you're given, because sorry, I'm a little nervous, but sorry.
Yeah. No, you're doing great, Meg. I mean, the point is that people choose to live particular places. And I think something you said is really, really important. Please don't take things that you have for granted. People take our vote. We as citizens of our country take our vote for granted. We take our entitlement for granted. We take our role in our country and what we do and say in the world for granted. Stop doing that. Be advice for all of us. Stop doing that. Thanks for jumping in today, Meg. You did great. I appreciate you very much. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Seriously though, we have, if you were to compare Massachusetts with other countries around the world, Mass in other states like Vermont and New York and California, those states that fund education from a competitive perspective, we would match a lot of those other countries around the world. What brings our education outcomes down are red states because they don't invest. It's pretty simple. Dano, good morning, friend. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind?
Good. Well, I haven't heard this in a while, so I thought I would ask. Steve, are you Zen?
I am fucking Zen, Dano. Thanks for asking. I appreciate you.
Yes, of course. I just had one quick thing that I wanted to bring up since there's no show tomorrow. And that is, and I can't take credit for this. I saw this on social media somewhere, but a lot of us are going to be going into going from suburbia into the bigger cities for the protests this weekend. A couple of things to think about. Make sure that you pardon me, make sure that you bring water, stay hydrated, and be aware of your surroundings, as some amazing Black women have told us, previous shows. Move differently, using a military term, keep your head on a swivel, be aware of your surroundings, and also be aware of the impact that a lot of people moving into these highly populated areas that aren't accustomed to millions of people or thousands of people. Just pick up the trash, make sure that you pack out what you pack in, and just leave the area better than we found it, and make that part of the impression that we leave as we do this protest against the tyranny that we are experiencing.
Well said. And patronize small businesses. Somebody just said that.
Exactly.
Well.
Yes,
Definitely,
exactly.
definitely
Patronize as many small businesses as you can. That is amazing. Yes. Thank Debbie. That's amazing. Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Great advice. Daniel, thank you for your wise words, friend. Appreciate you very much.
Of course.
Be safe out there. Have a good day.
You too.
Take care.
Take care.
All right. Bye. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. By the way, any chance you can to patronize a small business, please do so. As a small business owner, I would appreciate that. Rusty, if you want to come back, if you want to request again, bro, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to delay you or pause you, but yes. There he is. Good morning, sir.
Hey, I only have a minute. Two things. That kid that was up a minute ago from Massachusetts reminds me of the old saying, you can dress them up, you can buy them books, you can feed them a good breakfast, and you send them to school, and they eat the paste.
Pretty much.
He went to the best public schools in America, didn't learn a damn thing. That's not on the school. That's on him.
Agreed.
But you said you were talking earlier about the argument that we have with MAGA, things like that, and I'm reminded, I know you've heard it a gazillion times, especially when we talk about Iran. What do they say? This is not a war, and this is not new. They deny facts. I've gotten to the point where I ask them, okay, the people that were unalived in the initial attack, are they any less unalived because the word war wasn't thrown out, as opposed to if the word was? How about all those people in Vietnam? Yeah, how about all those people in Vietnam on both sides?
It's the semantics bullshit.
Yeah, and I've called them on a semantics argument. No, I'm using legal terms. You're an idiot. Sorry. No.
It's a fair point, right? Military action, even though the president said it. I mean, you get Mike Johnson, the king of the Glazers, the Speaker of the House will do anything he can to try to defend the president. I'm starting to wonder why. Maybe other things. Anyway, but you're right. It's a great example of the stuff that we see every single day. It doesn't matter what the reality is. All that matters is what they want to believe. Brandolini's law.
Exactly. And it's, there's a word I can pick apart that keeps my point active. And it's the argument we've all had: spirit of the law versus letter of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys will always stick to letter if they think they can win. They don't understand the nuance of a statement. They don't, and I've even said, okay, was an actual war declared on poverty? Was an actual war declared on drugs?
Drugs.
Was an actual,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Good point.
Did we declare a war? Well, then why are they calling it that? So
good point.
So
walk up to a Vietnam war veteran or a Korean war veteran or an Afghanistan war veteran and tell them that it wasn't a war.
I remember, and I could be wrong in this, but because we both know I'm 1,000 years old, I seem to remember that way back when there was some controversy with the VFW not readily allowing in Vietnam vets because it wasn't a war.
Really?
I seem to remember that. I could be wrong. But that stuck in my head. It's like, wait a minute, that's an old memory stuck in my melon from the late 60s, early 70s, when I was about 72 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah,
right after you learn to type on a hieroglyph. Yep.
That's right. So yeah, and because it wasn't a war. You know, I could be wrong, and if I am wrong, and I was going to say MAGA. Well, I was going to say MAGA. This is me acknowledging I could be wrong. Learn from that.
And we know that Vietnam vets were treated horribly when they returned home. So there's all
absolutely.
It wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't surprise me either. So you got it, buddy. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. All right, bye. Real quick, let me just check on something real quick. I got a text from the kid. Big day at our house today. Hang on a second. Graduating seniors from high school, they do this thing. They call it the anagnoresis. Basically, with the graduating seniors, and there's only 56 kids in my daughter's graduating class. What they're supposed to do is they present to counselors, the principal, superintendent, like a committee of educators, and they basically give their story of their high school journey, right? They talk about their 4 years. And you'd be surprised by the fact that I'll state this to you is that my kid went all in. She dressed the part because she's going to USC to become a journalist. I think she's going to be a documentary filmmaker. Ultimately, that's kind of what I think she's going to end up doing. So she dressed as if she were a journalist this morning when she left the house. She had a messenger bag. Her hair was all like done up more than it normally is. And she was like ready to go out there and tell the story of how her high school career has now turned her into this journalist. Beautiful shit. Anyway, a lot of the stuff in her presentation, I couldn't see. She wouldn't share it with me. I get it. It's hers, but anywho, and she's now done. So basically, at this point, she's got one final exam she has to take sometime in May. So how the fuck am I going to get her to go to school every day? She's just got to graduate. That's all I'm asking for. Get across the finish line, please. Senioritis is real. Abundance, how are you today?
Hey, brother. Long time no see. Congratulations on your daughter's graduation. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, I wrap my head around MAGA a little bit more and dive a little bit deeper into their psychology. And I've come to two conclusions. The first being more specific to them, and that is the idea of sort of identity fusion, right? Their identity has fused with Trump to the extent that they believe they are him and he is them, such that any criticism you level against him feels to them like a personal critique of their own character. You see, that's how demented this brainwashing can get. So you can say whatever you want, present them with whatever facts, and they feel like it's an attack on their personhood, on their ego, because that's what they've done. The second point, though, which ties into the first, is that these people seek and only get validation from external factors, like Trump telling them they're winners, right? And from what they earn, what kind of house they have, what job they have, and what have you. When those external validating factors are missing or gone because the jobs are gone, right? And you can't get that nice factory job because they've all been shipped overseas. Your status in the world is gone because guess what? Technology and education is something that you need in order to get ahead, and you've been stuck in the past. They don't have the decency and the self-reflection and accountability to say, hey, maybe that's my fault. Maybe I'm to blame for not being able to do the things that I need to do. But sadly, again, that's all external validation. And sadly, I think all of us sort of suffer from this because we're in a consumer society where if you don't have this, you're not worth it. If you don't look like this, you're not worth shit. If you don't do that, you're not worth shit. Rather than looking inside and understanding that we have intrinsic value as human beings. And I think they suffer from that in a major way. That's why they look to religion. That's why they look to people like Trump and Hegseth and patriotism and nationalism to validate their identity. And it's sad. Final thought to any able-bodied, military-aged, and now you can be 42 and smoke weed, supporter of this war. Don't come up into these lives, into these spaces, and talk about your support. Go sign up. Go sign up.
Well said. Well said, sir. Well said.
You have a great day, brother.
Thank you, bro. Good to talk to you again. It's been a while. He said something really, really interesting, and we talk about this a lot, right? It's this quest, the quest for the high control environment. Danielle has talked about this, about how, the cult, MAGA, the America First movement, the Trump world is a truly high control environment. And the people that are in it, the people that are the most loyal to Trump, would call themselves alphas. And yet they're subs because they need to be told what to do, right? They need to be told what to do. They need to be told that everything is okay. Don't worry, short-term pain, long-term gain. Don't worry, the economy will eventually turn around. Don't worry, it's justified for us to be invading a country, even though we told you that there'd be no more new wars. It becomes this cycle, right? And the empath in me is like, God damn, shit. Just want to shake it out of people. The pragmatist in me tells me it's going to take decades for that to happen, right? The idealist in me says it will happen eventually. I may not live to see it, but that's where we're at, which is why I make this constant push for education funding. By the way, I told you guys I was working on rewriting the Constitution. I've only gotten through the first two amendments so far. Do you want to hear them? They're interesting. I've got more to do. I'm not exactly psyched with I'm gonna rewrite it. Hold on, where's it here? Where did I put that? Okay. Modernized Bill of Rights. First Amendment. People have the right to speak, write, create, report, and share ideas freely, online and offline, without fear of government censorship. This includes freedom of religion, the right to gather peacefully, and the right to petition the government for change. Close, but a little different. Second Amendment. Right to personal and community safety. This is going to trigger people. People have the right to protect themselves and their communities within laws designed to balance individual freedom with public safety. Governments may regulate weapons responsibly to reduce harm while respecting lawful ownership. Is that not reasonable? That's as far as I've gone so far. They'll work on it. Again, the First Amendment, freedom of expression and belief. People have the right to speak, write, create, report, and share ideas freely, online and offline, without fear of government censorship. This includes freedom of religion, the right to gather peacefully, and the right to petition the government for change. And then number two, Second Amendment, the right to personal and community safety. People have the right to protect themselves and their communities within laws designed to balance individual freedom with public safety. Governments may regulate weapons responsibly to reduce harm while respecting lawful ownership. Free press is in there. Yep, I include the free press. I just changed the language a bit to encompass not just legacy media, but all of us as independent journalists too. Good morning, my dear friend. How are you?
Good morning, Steve. I love you.
I love you more.
How are you doing?
I'm better now that you're here.
Oh, that's very nice. I just wanted to, of course, come up here and preach to the choir for a few seconds about education after hearing
please
the previous guest. So honestly, I think a lot of it is a matter of not knowing what you don't know. not having the experience of attending or working in a public school in one of the lowest ranked states, for example, and not having anything to compare it to, right? Like it's almost a little bit of entitlement. But I've worked in various different states in extremely disparate income brackets. And I just know that Massachusetts is number one for a lot of reasons. They have the highest literacy rates. They have one of the highest funding per pupil, which is around $26,000 per student, in contrast to one of like the lowest states, which is like 11. Okay. That is a massive difference. In addition to that, they have policies that are equity-based funding so that the poorer districts get more share of that funding to make up for their lack of tax resources, right? So it's a little bit more equity across the state. There are so many things that other states without that funding don't have, like school psychologists, social workers, enrichment programs, music programs, theater programs, art programs. You know, student to teacher ratio is really bad. The teachers just don't have the time and resources to give to the kids the way that they do in a state where there's a way lower ratio, right? One complaint I do have about Massachusetts, I will say as a school librarian, is they do not have mandated certified school librarians in Massachusetts. They're one of 11 states. I don't really know why. I'm going to have to look more into why that is, but I find that to be a big problem. However, they have so many other enrichment programs and funding that, you know, it's clearly not affecting their number one status in literacy and AP placements and, you know, math and reading assessments and all. They're number one. They have the lowest dropout rate, right? So it's so much more than people realize when they don't see the other end of it. I used to teach in a district where their library was a table in a hallway with a row of books on it because their library had the ceiling had caved in from flooding and they couldn't afford to fix the roof. That was the library for the whole school. I just don't think people understand the difference there is in places they haven't been. Is my point, I think.
Yeah.
And you can see the outcomes, right?
What's the old that people who live in glass houses should not throw stones,
Yeah.
more or less.
And I mean, you see the outcomes. Also, Massachusetts has the highest ratio of teachers with advanced degrees. You know, it's just there's so much to it. And having 4 kids myself going through these, you know, school systems in Pennsylvania, this is a decent state. It's not the highest, it's in the middle, right? But there are such disparate outcomes between districts because they don't have equity funding throughout the state, right? So, you know, I mean, I just had to kind of sound off about that. Also, some bad news. My daughter, you know, my daughter is also graduating this year, in 2 months.
Yes.
And yesterday,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. She's so wonderful. Yesterday they found a student with a loaded firearm, so in her school.
Ooh.
So we got the email, you know, and it was really scary. And I, what are you going to do? Like, I didn't panic because that's not going to help. But I was definitely like nervous sending her. I mean, they caught the guy, he's arrested, whatever. But this is the stuff that we're up against in addition to everything else, right? And it's clear they're not going to do anything about this. This is what American parents have to live with every day. And on top of everything else, imagine dealing with that and a school that does not provide social services or art programs, enrichment programs, or even a library. Like, it's just, shouldn't be happening in America. We shouldn't have this disparate of outcomes across states.
No, there's no reason that you're absolutely right, Amber. I mean, then to have the Department of Education funding cut to support, you know, special needs programs and whatever else.
Absolutely. Yes.
States are already suffering, and then people in conservative states just expect teachers to just pay for it themselves.
And they do.
So, you know,
and they do
have to.
And one more thing on a different topic real quick. I found out yesterday because my daughter's 18 now, and I wanted to get her first like gynecological exam of her life, because that's what you have to do when you become an adult. You take care of yourself and get your pap smears and whatnot. And so I took her to Planned Parenthood for it because I support Planned Parenthood and I want to continue to support them. And one of the reasons why is because they can no longer accept Medicaid as of March 1st. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Well, I found that out yesterday when I was there, because I was there for 2 hours and I was the only person in the waiting room. And I'm like, why? This is in the downtown city. I thought it would be packed. I'm like, why am I the only person here? Oh, because like 5 people came in while I was there with Medicaid and they had to turn them away. They came in for their birth control and they had to turn all of them away because Donald Trump made it so that Planned Parenthood could no longer accept Medicaid for any reason. And if they find out you have Medicaid, you're also not allowed to pay out of pocket. So if you're on Medicaid, you cannot go to Planned Parenthood anymore, because if they find out that someone paid out of pocket who's on Medicaid, if they audit them, they'll say, well, that person paid out of pocket. They don't need Medicaid. And then they take that person's Medicaid away because they determine they don't need it based on their income. So like,
but
and honestly, like, we have Blue Cross insurance, so it's not an issue for me. But I was so angry when I found this out yesterday, because do you have any idea how many like late teen, early 20s and college girls go to Planned Parenthood who have Medicaid for their birth control?
Yeah, a lot.
Like no wonder, and not just for birth control, but like when I was in college, that's where I went for my pap smears and all the regular just maintenance stuff, breast exams, testing. Do you know how? No wonder the pregnancy and abortion rates are up instead of down. What are we doing?
Exactly. Don't worry, Amber. We've got minted coins with the president's name on it coming out, though.
Can you use those to pay self-pay at Planned Parenthood?
It's a token. Hell. Maybe you put it like in the little slot machine, and maybe you can go inside and pick your list.
I mean,
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
I know.
I know it's bad news, but I think people should be aware, because like, don't try to go there. It's Medicaid, because they're going to turn you away. You're going to have to find some other extremely like few and far between clinic. It's very sad.
I love you, friend. Thank
love
you for being here. You owe me a chit chat. So
absolutely.
Let's talk sometime, okay?
Yep. Love you.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
All right, love you too. Bye. Yeah, that's great. Fucking beautiful. Gotta love that. That's just the best. Yeah.
Hi.
Dottie. How are you today?
I just wanted to say that my children went through the early grades in New York State. And yes, we paid taxes. I'm from Florida originally. And when this whole lottery funding education thing started up, there was a lot of public outcry, because on the Democrat side, we said we would never see that money in education. When we moved back to Florida for my husband and I to go to grad school here, my children, I swear, went back at least 2 grades in what they were accomplishing. My then son in 7th grade came home from school one day and said, "We're doing in 7th grade what I did in 5th grade." And I'm a true liberal. I'm happy to pay taxes because I know where it goes. I know the equitable distribution goes to everyone, but Florida is in such an educational crisis right now, and the lottery is doing nothing.
Nothing.
And I have friends who are teachers. My husband and I are professors, and we teach at state universities. I shouldn't mention which ones because it could get me in trouble that I'm on your live. But
don't do that.
We teach at state universities, and they are constantly passing down these ridiculous and weird mandates. My husband is in the sciences, and even he has gotten some state mandates about how he teaches reproduction. And I'm in the political science field, and I'm just waiting for the bomb to drop. I study political behavior and teach grad students, and I'm just waiting for the bomb to drop.
I think the whole push here is that we just need to shift the priorities of our country and focus on the things that should matter, that make all of us better, make all of our lives better. Smart people
absolutely
solve problems.
But
smart people are,
this concept of not paying taxes and having some other way to fund education is crazy.
Agreed.
Because it doesn't work.
Never will under that model. Thanks for jumping in today, Dottie.
Sure.
I appreciate you for being here. And thank you for your work as a teacher. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the theme that runs through, the river that runs through everything that I think about has to do with education, public education in particular, propping up teachers. I want to overfund public education. I want to overpay teachers. I want school districts across the country competing for teachers. If you want America first, then give me the best fucking schools on the planet. If that's truly what you want, if you want America first, then give me the best healthcare system on the planet. Give me the best social safety net, et cetera, et cetera. It's not that we're not capable of doing these things. There just needs to be this push away from authoritarianism and then privatizing everything. So who benefits? The people who are supposed to be the beneficiaries are never going to benefit. The people with the power, the people with the money, they're the ones that would benefit, not students. Good morning, Gay Val. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
So there was two things I wanted to tell you. The first off, did you see the NBC News report about Trump last night, about Iran and Trump?
Which one? There's so many.
The one about how he's only fed a 2-minute clip of what happens.
Oh yeah, he gets like the sound bites.
Yeah, he gets the sound.
That's been long reported for a long time. Yeah, he can't engage. They have to prepare his briefings with large font in short paragraphs. That's his attention span.
Yeah, and then the other thing I was going to mention about schooling is, I'm only 24 years old. I'm only recently graduated 6 years ago. I graduated at the end of the Big Sick, and schooling has only gone downhill. I mean, I live in the state that has the #1 education system in the country, which is Massachusetts. My brother just recently graduated, and he has deficits that I didn't even have when I graduated all those years ago. And we keep putting more and more money into it, but honestly, I throw the blame back onto it with Common Core.
There's lots of factors. I think there just needs to be a commitment federally to you. I mean, we've got models. We can look at the schools in Massachusetts. We can pick other states as well. We've got models. It requires spending, and it's not going to be cheap. The reason people call it Massachusetts Taxachusetts is because they do have a high tax burden. But what do you get for your money?
Even recently, we have the millionaire's tax, where I take the bus to work every single day. I don't pay a dime for the bus because of the millionaire's tax.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping in today. I
no
appreciate
worries.
you being here, friend. You got it. Have a good day. Be safe out there. Yeah, I'm not critical of Common Core necessarily. I think there just needs to be consistency. We're going to actually do a live on public education. I can feel it. There's lots of people have a lot of things to say. I want to make sure I include public educators, homeschooling parents, private school educators that run the gamut. So give me some time to put the content together for that. So we'll do that. We'll do that on a future Facts After Dark. I do need to wrap, friends. Got to take care of some stuff to wrap up today. Got a few capitalism meetings I got to deal with. And then as a reminder, no show tomorrow. Well, I'm not going to say no show. I might go live from the airport once I land. Who knows? Facts in the wild tomorrow. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all of our guests. I appreciate you guys for this. And as a reminder, this is still something we're trying to do here. The Do Something Tour is really, really important to me. And I know people have said that it's important to a lot of people as well. If you want to support us, you can do so. Easiest way to do that is through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, at Factsstillmatter. We have a lot to do. There's always something to do, so we have to do something, right? we're gonna go raid RJ. RJ's live. This is his morning, so go. It's a different environment over there for sure. But go on over, tell him we said hello. I love you guys, mods. You guys are the best. Thank you, friends, for being here today. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow somewhere. But everybody be safe if you're attending No Kings rallies this weekend. I'll be out there causing some good trouble, but